so we can see how we're looking right here. All right, give me a second. No, that's what I meant to do. Is this right here? All right, hang tight for a little bit, folks. We just trying to make sure that everything is here. Appreciate you guys all being here. Y'all should know what to do by now. So I'm just waiting for this to load, I guess, on X, and then when it does that, we'll be able to see what's going on. But as of right now, it looked like, let me do something here. I don't know what's going on there at Twitter. For those of you that can see me, see if you can see the Google screen right now, this is me trying to get into that interview with Trump. And I'm pretty sure it's going to be something going on because the last time, whenever it was the last time Elon Musk was interviewing DeSantis, it was frozen. Details not available. Hold on, what's going on? Some of you guys trying to figure out what am I talking about. I'll show y'all here in a little bit. I knew this is gonna be something. Come on, Elon, you did some tests on here and everything. Where's it at, Elon? Okay, let me go check out my guy Benny, y'all. Let me see what's going on with my guy Benny because this. Let me see if my guy Benny got it going. Okay, let's see. What we got, Benny? Because I can't see it on. I'm not getting that. Let me see if Donald. Let me see if Donald Trump got it playing on his. I want to see if Donald Trump has it playing on his YouTube channel too. Okay, let me give me a second, guys. Just bear with me now. This is not on me now. This is Trump and Elon Musk. Show you how much of an African American Elon Musk is being late with the interview. Let's see if he got something to post on his website. No, he don't. But again, I'm back at Twitter again. Donald Trump official page is here. He posted this 8 hours ago. Donald Trump did. Give me a second.
We have a president who actually fulfilled the promises he made during the campaign, securing the border to foreign policy.
He now has a record as president that's pretty damn impressive. Breaking news out of Palm
The FBI has executed an unprecedented.
I think y'all seen this commercial before. Make sure y'all hit that like button. None. I appreciate you being here, says my moderators. I appreciate you guys being in here with me.
An unstable moment in American history.
Thank you very much, both of you.
Just indicted former President Donald Trump.
For 7 years, they hated him, they targeted him, they hunted
Where'd
him.
it go?
The epitome of the abuse of the prosecutorial power to preempt political decisions.
I never thought anything like this could happen in America. The only crime that I have committed is to fearlessly defend our nation from those who seek to destroy it. The more that a broken system tells you that you're wrong, the more certain you should be that you must keep pushing ahead. They want to take away my freedom because I will never let them take away your freedom. They want to silence me because I will never let them silence you. They're not coming after me, they're coming after you, and I just happen to be standing in their way, and I will never be moving. On November 5th, 2024, justice will be done. We will take back our country, and we will make America great again. America will always rise to every challenge and overcome every danger
Donald Trump seems to always get stronger when challenged. These types of things, I think, give him strength.
When I'm reelected, I will totally obliterate the deep state.
As long as we have pride in our beliefs, courage in our convictions, and faith in our God, then we will not fail.
All right, got that out the way. Sorry, y'all up here seeing Merrick Garland's face up there for the ones that are chiming in. I'm gonna get some things out of the way so y'all can just see this screen right here. So yeah, there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Let me go back to this screen right here where y'all can see me. As of right now, it doesn't look like nothing is happening there, but I do appreciate every last one of you guys being in here right now. And again, don't forget that hitting that like button is free. Unconventional Tia is in the house. How you doing, sis? Mr. Collins is in the house. How you doing, sir? David McNutt is in the house. Lily is in the house. KFC Apocalypse. Oh my God. Wendy, my moderator, is in the house. Appreciate you and Non being in here. I'm still trying to figure out what's going on, ladies and gentlemen. So let me share this screen with you guys again, and I'm going to try to figure out what we got going on. This is Donald Trump's. What is this? Let's see what this is right here. It says nothing to see here. He's been posting already. So this is some things that he's been doing 4 hours ago, whatever, and 6 hours ago. So Trump was already on here for quite a while. 7 hours ago. It's right here. He says enjoy. What's going on? We waiting, Team Trump. He said it would be an interview of the century. We waiting. Trump got in here and started tweeting immediately. Wait, no, he didn't. Some of his stuff is back up here. I'm sorry. Oh, yeah. Okay, there you go. Are you better off now than you were when I was president? Is what he said right here. So appreciate you guys still all being in here. I'm trying. I don't know what's going on here. So some of you that do not know, we're just trying to figure out what's going on here. I'm going to check a few other people's page again. And yeah, Benny Johnson seemed like he can't get it to come up either. As y'all can see right here, Benny doesn't have it either. So I don't know what's going on right now. But hopefully they just did this to get us all gathered in here. They're going to see how many people are actually chimed in or on Trump's Twitter page right now. I don't know if he's able to do that, but we're going to see. Let me check to see if there's anybody else. Let's see. Trump Elon Musk interview. Sue Prav says try Tesla's site. I don't know anything about Tesla's site, but let me see if I can do that. So, guys, if y'all don't know, I'm being told to look at Tesla's site, and so I'll try to go over there. And I don't even know anything about Tesla, but I'll try to do something. I don't know. I'm gonna just put in Tesla. I think this is more about their cars than Trump's interview. I put in Tesla Trump interview. There are some people that still say that they have it live on there, whatever, like that live Donald Trump, EX president, blah, blah, blah. And now I know my guy Benny right here, he got access to a lot of stuff. So I'm not seeing anything. I'm not seeing anything yet. He still has it up like this right here, which is pretty much, I'm over here at this same part right here on Donald Trump's. What if I did this? Did I get it? Hold on. I might have gotten some here, y'all. Or did I? You cannot join this space since you already are in this space. What space am I in? You cannot join this space since you are already in a space. What space? Okay, this is gonna get confusing. Let me see what Benny is doing again. Okay, Benny's trying to do it again too, right here, it looks like.
That just grays. And I've been trying this on desktop as well. It just goes gray and it doesn't navigate you into a space.
Yeah. I'm trying to keep an eye. It says Elon is on the space for me when I go to his profile, so I'm trying to keep an eye on it as well. But I mean, that's the best we
I'm
can
not going
do
to Elon and
is
try to
keep
do it.
refreshing to try and navigate there until they sort their issues.
Oh, come on.
Well, there we are.
It's a pirate. X is still a pirate ship, okay? At least
Holla
there's
at
free
the
speech.
wonderful Nurse Kate, my wife. What's up?
What's up?
Hello, Nurse Kate.
Just waiting for another Twitter space. Trying not to get DeSantis.
Man, yeah, for real. That's for real. Okay, I'm trying on Elon's. $212,000 other. You cannot join this space since you are already in a space. That does not make sense. Let me get out of some of everything. Just get out of a lot of these tabs. This is weird. I'm gonna go back into X again. So if you're just now joining in, I'm trying to get in and listen in on President Trump and Elon Musk interview. Oh, okay, now Kevin just says, is Twitter space down for anyone else? Kevin Sorbo. Man, they should have prepared for this. Not just saying that they didn't, but here we go again. I'm trying to get in there, folks. Now it's just going great like it did for Benny. Now it's going great on Trump's too. Let's see. We got Sue Prob with another $10 super chat here. Appreciate you, sis. Much love to you. Says Elon Musk got notification from the European Union to be careful of his content. It's a deliberate block. Wow. Wow. If y'all are in here right now, and you see my you see my man cave here and all that. Rick says starts in 27 minutes. Really? I'm gonna show you guys the screen. Look, it dropped the screen on y'all. Here we go. See, look, here go the screen that you guys all should be seeing. See how it's grayed out? No matter what we do, when we click on it like this, at first it was telling me I was connecting. Now it's just going gray. So let me see if I go to X and me try to get on Elon's again. Let's try Elon's. Go Elon. Let's go here. His turns gray too. Man, come on. I'm gonna see if there anybody that has Trump's an Elon live interview. Chaotic trying to get in there. He can't get in there. ABL. My guy ABL trying to get in there. Yeah, he can't get in there either. Man. Nobody can get on. Yeah, I'm just steady trying to get in there. I don't know what's going on. Unbelievable. Yeah, folks. I don't know what's going on here. I mean, you see that you guys see that we're trying to, get in there, and it's just the screen, as y'all can see right here, the screen right there, the screen is just grayed out. I'll try to go back to Trump. So let's see if I can get to go back to Trump's again. See, Riley Gaines just said, I was so excited for the space, but I can't get in. Anyone else? I'm writing her. Just grayed out. Sue again says, I really do appreciate the super chat right there. Everybody else, if y'all are just now tuning in, there's 135 people that's watching through the mobile. We're just trying to trying to figure out what's going on here. And apparently nobody is able to get in on it. I wish they would have done it. I wish Elon Musk had a wait, what is this? Hold on. Wait, what is this one? Man, this is bad. Still can't get in. Still can't get in. As y'all seeing it right there. Still can't get in. Yeah, Devin Derrick said, didn't the same thing happen with DeSantis? Yes, the same thing did happen with DeSantis. It did. Rose Nunez says 45 minutes. Where are you getting that from? Can you tell me where you're getting that from? And then you got Five for Fightus says that it's being blocked everywhere. Said it took a country help my times, but so you Net Hazard, you're literally listening to it right now. Net Hazard, you are literally listening to it right now. So you telling me if I gave you a link to come on my channel, you will be able to let us hear the audio to that? I mean, you don't have to show yourself, but if I'm able to give you a link and I don't know how, like if you would have to let me listen to your yeah, I get what you're saying, but it just this is, let me see. I'm going out and getting back in. Elon just posted a comment. Okay. Appreciate y'all keeping me with the updates. All right, let me see what Elon is saying here. Elon said live conversation. Where did he post a comment at? He said there, okay, right here. He says there appears to be a massive DDoS attack on X, working on shutting it down. Worst case, we will proceed with a smaller number of live listeners and post a conversation later. No! Come on, Elon. You're supposed to anticipate this, man. You a genius. I'm going to retweet what Elon just said, too. I'm gonna let my guy ABL know in case he don't know this. Let me see. Yeah. He probably just got. You darn right. No. Sir, why'd you interrupt my stream again? Huh? Hopefully ABL see my message there. Otherwise, I got somebody in here trying to bug me again. What puppy? You trying to say hi to the people again? Say hi to the people. What you want? Say hi to the people. Why they break the machine, Balin? They broke the machine? Huh? They broke the internet, puppy? They broke the internet? They broke the internet? What's this? Hmm? What? What do you want? What does Balin want? Hmm? What does Balin want? Hmm? What? Huh? Get on the carpet. There you go. There you go. What do you want? What does Balin want? Huh? Elon, what's wrong with their computer, Balin? What? Go tell him. Go tell him. Good boy. Good boy. It was on Rumble. It's down. Victor Maxwell just said. Man, this is sucky, man. Yeah, you hear ABL just trying to get there. Said I can't hear the conversation on X. Yeah, Deadwood, man. It's a blank screen, man. Even when even like right here, when I try to go on Elon said there's a DDoS attack on X. Now, Elon Musk is saying that there's a DDoS attack on X. So let me see what a DDoS is. All right. So this saying a distributed denial of service attack is a cyber assault that targets websites and servers by flooding them with traffic to disrupt network services and exhaust their resources. The goal is to make the target services unavailable or delay them, which can have a significant impact. For example, it's called a distributed denial of service. So a DDoS attack would prevent consumers from banking online or slow down access to tax document during critical period. So it is a distributed denial of service is what a DDoS is. So we all just learned something together because I didn't know what it was. My son, he's in cybersecurity, so he might have known that. But let me see if we can do it again. Goes blank. Goes blank again, man. This is wild. So I'm gonna refresh my X screen to see if there's anybody else. I'm letting people on Twitter know. So let me see if I can go over to Trump's. And again, I appreciate y'all all being here. We just trying to figure out what's going on here. Let's see. How about go to Trump's and let's see if I can play it on Trump's, which I most likely. What the heck? This is not his. Here it is. Nothing. Uh-oh, what's that? What is this? Oh, I thought I was in something. Dang. Man. Oh, y'all, this sucks, man. I was hoping y'all we was gonna be able to sit through this and hear this and all this, especially knowing that Trump was gonna be talking quite candid. Yeah, I got a little yawn in there. I'm not even tired. OCD says, Modern Renaissance, man, I have been on multiple channels and everyone is saying the same thing. They can't get it to play. Yeah, OCD, he said that there's a DDoS, a distributed denial of service is what that means. Elon Musk said, he said it's a cyber, I guess some sort of cyber attack. Yeah, Shirley, I checked Benny Johnson out. And I checked Benny Johnson out. And Benny Johnson is saying the same thing, that he can't get in either. So yeah, I appreciate that. So we just, I don't know, guys. I don't know. I don't want to, you know, burn all y'all time out of here or nothing like that. But I really would want this to go on. So shoot. Still nothing. That's wild. Why are you coming back in here, puppy? Huh? What do you want? I have no snackies for you. I have no snackies, puppy. Yep. Same thing. Can't get in. Nope. Can't get in. What up, pup? Can you fix this computer issue? Huh? You gonna fix the computer issue? Fix the computer issue, puppy. Yeah, right. David McNutt said, Ty, start reading the Bible. I'll stay and listen. When you're gonna fall asleep. Oh man, come on now. Let me go check Elon out, man. I don't wanna. Oh. Let me see what Elon is saying on his. I don't, man. This sucks, man. We will proceed with the smaller number of concurrent listeners at our time, 7:30, and then post the unedited audio immediately thereafter. Man, he said we tested the system with 8 million concurrent listeners earlier today. Man, come on, man. Oh, how I want to be in that number. Okay, start listening. Let me in. Y'all see that? Am I in? I think I'm in. I think I'm in, y'all. Let's go. Let's go. Let me let ABL know. Let me let my guy ABL know. See what ABL say. Did my comment go through?
They might record it.
I'm in, folks. Y'all see the screen? Y'all see my logo over there? I'm in. Let's go. If you can see that screen right there, you see that I'm in. In case I get kicked out, you guys are my witnesses. You see that? Ty Smith, listener, I'm in. I'm gonna let them know again. $697,000 people. Guys, I'm gonna stick here with y'all. Y'all all can, yes, there's still the music on. Sam T, I am in. I am in. So if y'all don't know this, ladies and gentlemen, I'm in, and I'm not gonna leave out of here either. And it shows that there are about, man, move. So Donald Trump is in there. Hold on. No music now. Puppy, you going to get out of here. Y'all hear him clinkety clank clank? Come on now. It's silence right now. I see Trump's thing moving right there. Yeah. The music stopped. I'm still gonna stay here, y'all. It's saying up in the top right corner that there's recording going on. If y'all can see this, let me make the screen a little bigger for y'all. There it is right there. You can see that I'm in, ladies and gentlemen. Your boy is in. I am in. That's what she said. Let me stop. Yeah, the music stopped playing right now, but I'm not gonna log out or nothing. I'm not refreshing. I'm not doing nothing. I'm staying right here. Trump mic is muted. Come on now. I need to hear some talking or something. This is the biggest interview in history, and now we're asking you to make this President Trump biggest fundraising day ever, says Team Trump. There's 879,000 other listeners in here right now. That is wild. He in. Wait. Yes, sir. Now I'm not hearing no music. Hold on now. Oh, I'm through. I'm through Trump's. Let me see who ABL is through. And Kyle. I got the same thing. Donald Trump, me, and Kyle. Kyle, Christopher, Tony. Right. You guys rather have it like this, so y'all can still see me too a little bit. I got 879 or 880. That's right. Shout out from Springfield. Whoa, Springfield. Okay, let me test you. Ig Ladson. Ig Ladson, you from Springfield, right? What's one of the best burger joints there in Springfield? One that not too many people gonna know about. Like if you came from if you came from another state and you went to Springfield, Illinois, what's a slept on burger joint in Springfield. Come on. Come on, Ick Latson. Ick Latson. I'm gonna see what Ick Latson gonna say. But anyway, y'all, I'm see y'all in here in the stream as well. I'm gonna do this right here so we can all be in here. But y'all, right now, it looks like I'm in. My guy ABL, he's in there too. The music stopped right now, and hopefully we can get something. Somebody said the views dropped, but I'm waiting on Ick to respond. Yes, sir. Ick Latson, you got darn right. Wait, now it says Nick. Wait, your name just changed. How you go from Nick to Ick? Yes, sir. Nick Latson, you're darn right. And I'm gonna tell you a secret too, if you don't know this. I don't know how often you eat there, but whenever I'm in the Illinois area, in the central Illinois area, I either go to Springfield, I either go to Decatur, I go to Mount Zion. And I'm telling you, if you want them suckers to be crazy good, get a triple cheeseburger, right? And tell them you want the bottom two patties cooked medium. And then you want a lemon and strawberry shake with hardly no milk in it. I'm telling you. Boy, folks, y'all don't know nothing about that Midwest. Y'all don't know nothing about that Midwest burgers like that, man. I'm telling y'all. When I come home, when I come visit from Florida and head to Central Illinois.
Apologies for the late start. We unfortunately had
a
massive distributed denial of service attack against our servers, and saturated all of our data lines. Like basically hundreds of gigabits of data were saturated. We think we've overcome most of that, and so it's now time to proceed. But as this massive attack illustrates, there's a lot of opposition to people just hearing what President Trump has to say, and but I'm honored to have this conversation. I want to emphasize it's a conversation, and it's really intended to just get a feel for what Donald Trump is just like in a conversation. It's hard to catch a vibe about someone if you just don't hear them talk in a normal way. And when there's an adversarial interview, like no one's themselves in an adversarial interview. So this is really aimed at kind of open-minded, independent voters who just trying to make up their mind. So you can understand like what is what is it just like to have a conversation. So honored to Donald, great to speak. We had a great conversation yesterday. As you mentioned yesterday, if we could just record that conversation and post it, it would have been excellent. And I hope we can have something like that today.
Well, I think we will. I'm pretty sure we will. And congratulations, because I see you broke every record in the book with so many millions of people, and it's an honor. We view that as an honor. And then you do want silencing of certain voices. Usually those are voices that have something to say that are constructive, oftentimes constructive. And so we have to consider it an honor. But congratulations on breaking every record in the book tonight. That's great.
Well, thank you. Well, I mean, maybe we could start off with, the assassination attempt, which was an incredible thing. And I have to say that, your actions after that assassination attempt were inspiring. You, instead of shying away from things, instead of ducking down, you were pumping your fist in the air and saying, fight, fight, fight. And I think that's, the president of the United States represents America, and I think that is America. That is strength under fire, and so that's a big part of the reason why I was excited to you as the president of the United States for having another term here is that was just incredibly inspiring. But what was it like for you?
Not pleasant. I have to be honest. I said there was blood. I had more blood. I didn't know I had that much blood. The doctors later told me that the ear is a place that is a very bloody place. if you're going to get hit. But in this case, it was probably the best alternative you could even think about because it went at the right angle, and it was a hard hit. It was very, I guess you would say surreal, but it wasn't surreal. I was telling somebody you have instances like this, or like a lot less than this, where you feel it's a surreal situation, and I never felt that way. I knew immediately that it was a bullet. I knew immediately that it was at the ear.
Yeah.
And because it hit very hard, but hit the ear. And I also heard people shout, "Bullets, bullets!" Get down, because I moved down pretty nicely, pretty quickly, and we had bullets flying right over my head after I went down. So I'm glad I went down. The bigger miracle was that I was looking in the exact direction of the shooter, and so it hit me at an angle that was far less destructive than any other angle. So that was the miracle. That was for those
Split
people that
second.
don't believe in God. I think we got to all start thinking about that. You have to, I'm a believer now. I'm more of a believer, I think, and a lot of people have said that to me. A lot of great people have said that to me, actually. But it was amazing that I happened to be turned just at that perfect angle, and all because I put down a chart on immigration that showed that the numbers were so great. I love that chart even more
Maybe
now.
it's a
than I
sign.
ever-
Maybe
Yeah.
that's a sign.
It's an immigration sign.
You highlighted a serious issue, and
Yeah.
at that moment,
That's right.
the bullet missed your, hit your ear, but missed your head. I mean,
Well, the amazing thing is that the sign, I said, bring down that sign on immigration, and it was literally about an eighth of a second where it would be good, and after that it was going to be a disaster, no matter which way you were facing. But it just had that perfect angle, which was exactly at this shooter. Very sad situation. Such a sad situation. As you know, we lost somebody that was great, Corey, who a firefighter, a great gentleman, a great Trumper. He was just a fantastic family and a fantastic man. And a friend of mine came up, Elon, and said, "I'd like to give the family some kind of help." And I said, "That's great." He said, "Do you mind?" I said, "I don't mind at all." And he wrote out a check for $1 million, gave it to the wife. And, she said, "This is really nice, but I'd rather have my husband back," which is a nice thing for somebody to say, to be honest. She's great. The family is great. And we raised a lot of money for them and for two other gentlemen are unbelievable people also. They were hit really badly. They thought they were not going to make it, and they did. The doctors in the Butler area, I tell you, they were incredible. They saved the two, and they were really hit tough, both of them, equally. And we thought, my first question was because I heard bullets flying over me, and I said, how many people were killed? Because we had a massive crowd there, a tremendous thousands and thousands of people, and there was no land. I mean, it was all people. So I said, how many people have been killed? Because I knew there were other shots being fired. And they said, we don't know yet, but some people have been badly hurt. And I have to give the Secret Service sniper, they call him, or sharpshooter, but sniper, because he didn't know there was a problem. He's an extraordinary shot, obviously, and he didn't know there was a problem. And he was able to pick it all out within 5 seconds. And he used one bullet from very far away, I guess probably about 400 yards. The shooter was 130, but he was on the opposite side of the field and the podium. And he saw the smoke and the flame from the gun, immediately recognized it, and immediately took a shot. And it was one.
Can you guys all hear me?
From very far away. And if he didn't do that, Elon, he would have. I mean, if he would have, a lot more people could have been badly hurt and killed. So I have to take my hat off to him, because that's also a surreal. He's been with them for 23 years, and he's never had anything like this. And all of a sudden he has to act, and it's a very tough thing to act and to be shooting somebody. But he saw the gun, saw the smoke, saw the flame from the gun, very far away. Obviously has very good eyes. He's got very good vision, which I assume you have to have in that particular work. But he took aim very quickly, and They say it was approximately 5 seconds from long range,
Yeah.
one bullet. If that didn't happen, because
Yeah.
the shooter had a lot of bullets, he had a lot of cartridges
Sure.
up there with him. So
Well,
could have been very.
I mean, that's clearly, he was very competent in taking that shot to stop the attempted assassination. But I mean, there does seem to be, I mean, some pretty significant failings elsewhere in the system. Like, there's just no way that, like, how on earth does a shooter get on a roof 130 yards away? That seems crazy. I think most people people are wondering how on earth could such a thing happen?
Well, I view it as two ways. There should have been nobody on the roof. There were people,
Yeah.
because there were so many tens of thousands of people there. There were people that were seeing him, and there was one woman with a red shirt and
Right.
Trump all over it,
I saw the video.
and she's screaming. That guy's got a gun. You saw it probably.
Yeah,
There's a
No, I
guy
saw
up
the
there
videos.
with a gun.
I mean, it's like I guess, I mean, for my part, and I think probably many members of the public are wondering how the heck are, basically people wondering by pointing out there's a guy on the roof with a gun.
Yeah.
And they're seeing it, but somehow it's not being addressed. That does seem crazy.
Well, they're going to learn from this. The communication between the local police, who sort of had an idea, and then ultimately a man lifted himself up to the roof, could barely do it because he was pulling himself up, and
Yeah.
he saw the man with the gun. The man with the gun pointed the gun at him. He thought he was probably going to get shot, but he was like pulling himself up, and because of that, he couldn't get to his gun. And he fell down, actually very badly hurt his leg, his ankle. I hear very badly,
Okay.
but he fell down. And he did, from what I understand, he did say there's a guy up there with a gun. And the shooting started very quickly after that. I think it forced the shooter to go maybe quicker. He was supposed to be a very good shot.
Yeah.
My sons, Don and Eric, they can't believe what happened, but they said from 130 yards, a bad shot would hit that target almost every time. They said it's like in golf,
Yeah.
sinking a 2-foot putt.
Yeah, it's not a tough shot.
It's not a long shot. The Secret Service person had the long shot. He had triple the
Yeah.
distance actually. So it was a terrible thing. Look, it's hard. I have to say this about the Secret Service. When I went down,
Make sure you hit the thumb.
and I went down based on, I think they're screaming, but other people also, because people saw this happen. You had so many people. One of the miracles was that nobody ran. I mean, if a gun goes off, the crowd
Yeah.
control people showed us this. When guns go off, and it does happen in stadiums at a soccer match or some kind of a match, everybody flees. They call it a stampede, like cattle. But everybody, and a lot of
Yeah.
people get killed with those stampedes. We had
Sure.
more people than you'd have at, some of these matches or these games, and nobody left. You had a small group behind us in the grandstand, and that was full. And you look at it as it was taking place, and normally they'd be running. They didn't leave. They saw that I was hurt. They saw a lot of blood, and they saw that I went down. And it's almost like they wanted to be with me. Well, out front, you had thousands, tens of thousands of people. As far as the eye could see, you had people in Butler, as far as the eye could see, and
Yeah.
and a lot of press too. There was many cameras on watching this. It's what makes it so different, because normally things happen that aren't good, but you never have a picture of it. Here we have all these cameras shooting it, so sort of amazing. But one of the was that you didn't have anybody flee. You didn't have anybody stampede.
Sure.
Nobody. And there were some people behind me. They stood up and they're looking like, I mean, I tell you, you want to have them in a foxhole with you. I want to meet some of those people, because it's so different from what you heard. But so I was down. But the Secret Service guys, there were bullets flying right over my head. You could hear them go whizzing, and these guys came jumping on top of me, and a young lady, Kate. They moved so fast, and let me tell you, that took tremendous courage. Now, there was a lack of coordination. There was, obviously everybody understands that that building should have been covered, and
Yeah, I mean,
that was
I
the
think
big
that,
thing.
I mean, looking at the aerial views, that building would be like the #1 spot for a sniper. I mean, it's like the if you were to pick like what is the favorite, what if you so if the goal is to assassinate, what's your favorite spot? That building, the
You're
roof of
right.
that building would be #1.
That would have been the spot.
It's like you can ask for a better
No,
location. It's like
no,
#1.
that would have been the spot. You know what people think
Yeah.
is when the local policeman, who, by the way, he really he did what he was supposed to do. He couldn't hold on any longer. And then when he got his head just peeking above, this guy standing there with a gun at his head. And when he fell down, again, hurt his ankle very badly, but he was making the calls. But what happened is the firing took place very soon. So what they think is that this guy ran to his site, which he had all planned out with the gun. He ran to the site and he started shooting fast. And maybe that's why he sort of missed. I mean,
But
he
as you
got
say,
me, but
he
it
would have
could have
hit.
been, could have been a much bigger problem.
But he totally would have hit if you hadn't turned your head. So, like, there was it was a very near thing.
It was a miracle. If I hadn't turned my head,
yeah,
I would not be talking to you right now. As much as I like you,
exactly.
I would not.
Yeah,
I would not be talking.
I mean, talking to me from another realm, perhaps.
Yeah, that's right. We'd be talking from a different place. But it was a very terrible experience. The Butler Hospital, they did such a great job. The doctors were so good. Everybody was so good. There was a mistake. If somebody knew, because people were hearing that, there was just a bad feeling that there was somebody was around. You know that story now. It's been And if somebody could have said, because they've oftentimes said, like there'd be a lightning storm or something, because I've done, I think, over 300. I think I did a lot more than that, but we did a lot. And oftentimes they'll say, sir, could you wait 10 minutes, please? Sir, could you wait 20 minutes? There's a storm overhead or lightning or something, right?
Medical
And that
professional.
happens often.
President Trump.
And this would have been a perfect time for that to have happened.
I'm telling you right now,
It didn't get coordinated. That was the problem.
Not a list. That's literally how people say when they have.
It was your
probably
your
children.
actions in the
I mean, it just don't. He don't sound.
And
y'all know what I'm saying.
What I find admirable there was that
and by the way, I don't have anything to do with the sound, ladies and gentlemen. I have everything turned up. It's on their end. I have everything black.
So I just want to say that
look how loud I am.
a lot of people admire your courage under fire there. And, so
thank you very much. I appreciate it. I didn't think of it. I just wanted to get up, and I wanted to stand up. I wanted to let people know. I felt I was good when they were on top of me, covering me, actually, very much covering me, and very bravely. But I wanted to get up. I said, I want to get up, and they wanted. They have everything there. They wanted stretcher. I didn't like the stretcher. And I knew I was hit in the ear, but I knew I wasn't hit anywhere else. They felt I was hit someplace else because it was such a lot of blood. And they were sure that I was hit someplace else. And they were saying, sir, you were hit more than the ear. I said, nope, I was hit in the ear. I want to get up. Let me get up. And so I got up, and the crowd didn't know what to think. I mean, this was so many people, and you could see they were confused. They didn't know what to think. And I wanted to let them know I was okay. It was very important for me to let them know that. And they went wild. You've seen the after. They didn't go wild when I got up because they didn't know, was I alive? You really couldn't tell. When I stood up before the the fist in the air, they didn't know if I was alive. Nobody did. And when I put the fist up, they were just relieved and happy and thrilled, and the place went crazy. It was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
It was a terrible thing, but it was
incredibly moving. Yeah. Well, and I mean, speaking of the sort of slide that got you to turn that saved your life, really, was the illegal immigration slide. Maybe this, maybe this is worth talking about that.
It was
that slide saved your life.
No, the illegal immigration saved my life. You're right, but it was, I had to be at that exact angle.
I mean, that's a great one. saved by illegal immigration.
You know, the incredible thing though, when you talk about the odds, you had to be exactly at that angle, but the incredible thing is that the chart, I used it less than 20% of the time. It was just a moment.
Yeah.
It's always on my left, never my right. And it's always at the end of the speech. So here
Yeah.
we have it. It's on the right, not the left. It's at the beginning, not the end. And even the people that put it up, they were unprepared, and they did a great job. They got it up immediately, fortunately. But I looked to the right, and the bullet came whizzing by, hitting my ear. So it was amazing. But when you you know that normally you wouldn't use it. Normally I wouldn't have the thing, and then it would have been a very different story. It's very much, I say, an act of God. It's a miracle that it happened, and I'm honored by it. I'm honored by it.
Well, what were you about to say about illegal immigration before you were rudely interrupted?
Well, I was going to say how good the numbers were. By the way, we're going back to Butler, and we're going to go back in October. We're all set up, and the people are fantastic in Butler. It's a great area. Great. These are incredible people. Like the three that, in the case of Corey, killed, and the other two, the families I got to know them a little bit, and the families are great. But we're going back to Butler, and I think I'll probably start by saying, as I was saying, prior to being so horribly interrupted.
Yeah.
But
so rudely interrupted by an assassination attempt.
But no, but the chart.
Some people have no manners.
Elon, the chart was just a chart that, in my last week, we had the best illegal immigration numbers, meaning stopping. It was at the lowest. You've seen the chart. It's become quite a famous chart. But that was the lowest point ever recorded. It was a really, I was very proud of those numbers. And then you see what happened with these people, Kamala and Joe. You see what happened. They just let it go. I had remain in Mexico policies. I had all these different policies that was so good. Guys like Tom Holman and Brandon Judd from Border Patrol. These are all people that they've been on television. They said it's the best numbers we've ever had. We had so many different checks, catch and release in Mexico, not the United. We had catch and release in the United States. We had it in Mexico. We had so many things. We had things where many people come in there, they have contagious diseases. We had everything passed. If you have a contagious disease, I'm sorry, but we cannot allow you into the country. So we were setting literally records, and all I was doing is showing that, and I use it sometimes.
Sure.
And in this case, I'm glad I used it. I can tell you that. But there were fantastic numbers. But I'm going to sleep with that chart always. I'll be sleeping with that chart. That chart was very important for a lot of reasons.
Well, I mean, would it be accurate to say that you're supportive of legal immigration, but we also need to shut down illegal immigration, and especially unvetted illegal immigration, because and that's not the same as saying that everyone who's an illegal immigrant is bad. In fact, I think most people who are illegal immigrants are actually good, but you can't tell the difference unless there's a solid vetting of who comes across the border. Does that accurately represent your position?
I say it very simply. They have to come in legally. They have to be checked. Yeah. Because look, Kamala was the border czar. Now she's denying it. Everything that I do, she's saying she was strong on the border. We're going to be strong. Well, she doesn't have to say it. She could close it up right now. They could do things right now. It's horrible. No tax on tips, and all of a sudden she's making a speech and there will be no tax on tips. I said that months ago. And by the way, they had just the opposite. They had not only tax on tips, but they hired 88,000 IRS agents, and many of them were assigned to go get waitresses and caddies and all of this on tips. They have a policy. They had a policy that they were really going to go after you, and were really harassing people horribly. And then all of a sudden, for politics, she says, she comes out with what I said, which I think is terrible. And I think it's also hitting them very hard. These people are fake. Now they're also saying they did a good job on the border. We had the worst numbers in the history of the world, not of our country. There's never been a country in history that has had a catastrophe like this. We've had, I believe, and I think you believe this too, you hear 12 million, 13. I believe it's over 20 million people came into our country, many coming from jails, from prisons, from mental institutions, or a bigger version of that is insane asylums, and many are terrorists. And I'll tell you what, they're coming not just from South America, they're coming from Africa, they're coming from all over the world. They're coming from Asia, they're coming from the Middle East, they're coming from countries that are stupidly and horribly bombing Israel October 7th. They're coming from all over the world. And you know, you look at, it's so sad October 7th because it should have never happened. It's so sad when you look at Ukraine. It should have never happened. We have a defective government. These are defective people, and they're not people that should be running it. But where you see it the best is the border, because you have millions of people coming in a month, and then she gets up and she tries to pretend like she's going to do something. She had 3.5 years. And by the way, they have another 5 months that they can do something, but they won't do anything. It's all talk. She's incompetent and he's incompetent. And frankly, I think that she's more incompetent than he is. And that's saying something because he's not too good.
Yeah. No, I think it is essential to have a secure border. I mean, you're really not a country unless you have a secure border. And
secure elections, too.
You know, absolutely secure elections. And so it's just essential to have a real border, or we can't function as a country, and our service, you know, our central services are being overwhelmed in a lot of cities. But as we were talking about earlier, I think having a legal immigration process that is smooth and efficient and done well, and speaking as someone who is a legal immigrant, I think that I mean, like one way to think of it is, who do you want on your team? Who do you want on Team America? And I think we want to just say, okay, we want to let in people who are going to, be great contributors to our society and to our economy, and and who do you want on the team? And it's not to say that, like in my opinion, actually, I'd say like probably most of the illegal immigrants actually are actually good, hardworking people. That's my opinion. But some are not, and you just have this sort of adverse selection process where, if somebody's, if somebody's like has a career in theft or robbery, I don't understand what's taken them so long to get here, because we're such a target-rich environment. I mean, why aren't more people who have a career in, bad things coming here sooner? Because it's a piece of cake to go rob, houses in LA or New York, compared to other parts of the world. And in a lot of places in America, if you try to stop the person who's robbing you, you'll be arrested. So
it's right. I mean, what's happening with crime, and our police are so good, but they're not allowed to do their job. But I have to tell you, Elon, I hate to say it because it's such a downer to say it. I hate to say it. I hate it. But you have a lot of people that just shouldn't be. I think it's a much bigger number than you think. They're allowing, again, they're allowing people from their jails. And if you were running one of these countries where they're coming from, you would have had all of them. As an example, Venezuela, their crime is down 72%. They're taking their drug dealers. They're taking, frankly, their prisoners. They're emptying out their prisons. They're taking their criminals, their murderers, their rapists, and they're delivering them into.
That's what Castro did.
Yeah, well, he did on a much smaller scale.
Yeah.
It was a much smaller scale. But this is a massive scale because this is being done worldwide. But here's what's happening: crime all over the world is down. And wait till you see the numbers that we have. This is migrant crime. This is crime that's going to be. And I saw it today in New York, where somebody was knifed with raped the girlfriend of a man that stood there watching in New York in one of the shelters, and started pulling out the knives, and bad things happened today. But this is happening every day. These are rough people. These are people that are in jail for murder and all sorts of things. And they're releasing them into our country, and they're telling them, if you come back, we're going to kill you. We're going to give you the death penalty or kill you. So they don't want to come back. But these are rough people. These are criminals that make our criminals look like nice people. and it's horrible what they're doing. And she's in charge of it because now she's trying to say she had nothing to do with it, and she's such a liar because she was called the border czar the first day, and it was on the headlines of every newspaper. She's the border czar, and she never even went there. She went to one location which had nothing to do with where the problem is. She went in and out, I guess, because she was getting a lot of pressure, but had nothing to do where the problem is. But she was the border czar, and people can't allow them to get away with their disinformation campaign. Now she's trying to say that she wasn't really involved, and the whole thing is horrible. She was totally in charge. She could have shut the border down without him. He didn't know what he was doing anyway, so he wouldn't have even known what happened. You could shut the border down. He wouldn't even know the difference. But the fact is that she was border czar. But if you don't have to call her that, the fact is you could just call her. She was in charge of the border, and the border was the worst ever.
It's simply not working.
No, it's horrible.
Whether it's a question of intention or competence, either way, we don't have a secure border, and we have people streaming over like it looks like a World War Z zombie apocalypse at times. And sometimes you got to sort of wonder, like, is it real or not? So because you see things, you're like, is it real? So I went to the border at Eagle Pass, and I saw for myself in Texas, and I was like, okay, it's real. I'm like seeing this in real time. I actually posted the video like just live. I just flew there one day and just to see, hey, is this made up or real? And I'm just seeing people stream across the border, and I have to say, at least the people that I saw did not look friendly.
These are
people can look at my video and say, hey, these people look friendly. I don't look super friendly. So
these are people that Elon would not be the same man if he had to walk across the street and look these people in the eye. These are rough people. These are really rough people coming across. And I know rough people. And these are people that we don't want in our country. And, the caravans are coming in, and they're putting, and who's doing this are the heads of the countries. And you would be doing it, and so would I. And everyone would say, oh, what a terrible thing to say. The fact is, it's brilliant for them because they're taking all of their bad people, really bad people. And I hate to say this, the reason the numbers are much bigger than you would think is they're also taking their non-productive people. Now, these aren't people that will kill you. We have enough of them. But these are people that are non-productive. They are just not productive. I mean, for whatever reason, they're not workers, or they don't want to work, or whatever. And these countries are getting rid of non-productive people in the caravans in many cases. And they're also getting rid of their murderers and their drug dealers and the people that are really brutal people. And they're coming into our country at levels that have never been seen before. And I saw an ad just before I got on the air. I'm walking over here, and I saw an ad by Kamala saying how she is going to provide border security. Where has she been for 3.5 years? For 3.5 years, we have 20 million people poured in. It's a terrible.
Yeah, I think this, frankly, I think this is a fundamental existential issue for the United States. And if we have another 4 more years of open borders, and it's going to be even worse with another 4 more years, it's going to be even worse than it's been for the past 3.5 years. I'm not sure we've got a country.
You don't have a country left. Elon, if they get in, you will have 50 to 60 million people from all over the world, not South America only. We think of South America, we think of Honduras and El Salvador, Guatemala, and Mexico, the 4. But it's not that. It's everywhere. They're coming in from everywhere. And I had to stay in Mexico.
Yeah, I think this is a super important point. Like, people, it's like, basically, when I went down there, I was like, well, where are people from? It's like almost no one was from Mexico.
No, Mexico less.
It's just the border. It's just the border with Mexico. But the people coming in, it's Earth, the rest of Earth, and America is only about 4 or 5% of the population of Earth. It would only take a few percent of the rest of Earth to overwhelm everything.
We're already overwhelmed, Elon. We're overwhelmed. You had to see the news tonight about New York, and I love that place. And what they're doing to it is horrible. What they're doing to it, and all the courts do is they try and focus on Trump. Okay, let's focus on Trump, who did nothing wrong. I complain about a rigged election. Elon, what's happened is unbelievable. You have from Africa. From the Congo, they're coming from the Congo, and 22 people came in from the Congo recently, and they're murderers, and they drop them. They drop them. They take them out of jails, which is very expensive, to maintain the jails. Although they don't do too much maintaining, I can tell you. But they take them out of jails, prisons. They take them out, and they bring them to the United States. They deposit them in the United States and say, "Don't ever come back, or you're going to be executed." And they don't want to come back, but they won't come back.
Sure.
But they're coming from Africa. They're coming from Asia. They're coming from the Middle East. They're coming from South America.
just
They're
Earth.
coming from
Rest of Earth,
everywhere.
basically.
And there are a lot of
Yeah,
really
everywhere on
bad
Earth.
ones.
It's just an everywhere on Earth thing, and it's just not possible for the United States to absorb everyone from Earth, or even a few percent of the rest of Earth. It's just not possible. So
Well, Elon, we're going to have to finish this up. We're going to have the largest deportation in history of this country, and we have no choice. Otherwise, we're going to have a country. What they've done to our country. Think of it, with in Venezuela and in some of these other countries, crime is down 50, 60, 70, 80%. And you would be the same. You would have.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. Venezuela has not gotten rid of all of them. They've gotten rid of about 70% of their really bad people. Their jails are about 50% put into the United States. The same with other countries.
Sure.
Some are 30%, some are at 50%. They're all different. But the bottom line is they're all going to be at 100%. Why wouldn't you put 100% of it? And they're doing it right now while this third-rate phony candidate. Don't forget, I beat Biden. He failed in the debate miserably. And, some people said, "Oh, gee, it's too bad. It's too bad he did so badly," or "I did well in the debate." The first night they said, "Wow." One of the people at CNN said that was the greatest debate performance I've ever witnessed. And then 2 days later, they didn't talk about that. They just said he was bad. But that's okay. That's the way I get treated, and I don't mind that at all. What I can tell you is this. We cannot have a Democrat. We cannot have her. She's incompetent. She's as bad as Biden in a different.
Yeah.
Look, she hasn't done an interview since this whole scam started. And say what you want. This was a coup. This was a coup of a president of the United States. He didn't want to leave, and they said, "We can do it the nice way, or we can do it the hard way."
Yeah, they just took him out back behind the shed and basically shot him.
What they did with this guy, and I'm no
yeah.
fan of his, and he was a horrible president, the worst president in history. And one of the reasons he was so bad, first of all, the Israeli attack would have never happened. Russia would never have attacked Ukraine, and we'd have no inflation. And we wouldn't have had the Afghanistan mess, if you think of it.
Well,
and we wouldn't have had Afghanistan. But we think of it. You take a few of those events away, and we have a different world. We would also have inflation was caused by oil.
Yeah, no. I think you're making an excellent point here, which is that when other countries can, that are are thinking about invading or doing bad things, when they're thinking about that, they're thinking about, okay, what's the American president going to do, and do they fear the American president, or is there someone they do not respect and do not fear? And I think they would rightfully be. I mean, look at the footage with the assassination. They're like, okay, President Trump is like, don't mess with me. I mean, that's like, whereas I think people are not going to be, and they obviously have not been at all intimidated by Biden, and they certainly will not be intimidated by Kamala. And you have to really think of that in the context of global security. That if the American president is someone that, like, evil dictators are scared of, that makes a huge difference to the security of the world.
So I had a good relationship with Putin, despite the Russia hoax that lasted for over 2 years. Just a hoax created by Hillary Clinton and Adam Schiff, some just bad people, just sick people, frankly. I mean, Schiff is a sick person. He's going to end up probably being a senator. It's hard to believe. The whole thing is hard to believe. But, they put our country in danger with that stuff, too. They actually, when they make up stories, and you have to fight your way out of it for a long time. But I know Putin very well. I got along with him very well. He respected me, and it's just one of those things. And we would talk a lot about Ukraine. It was the apple of his eye. But I said, don't ever do it. Don't ever do it. I shut down Nord Stream 2. That was the big oil pipeline, the biggest pipeline in the world going all over Europe. I shut it down. Biden came, and then they say,
Yeah.
I loved Russia. I was a friend of Putin, and I loved Russia. No, he actually said to me one time, he said, if you're my friend, I'd hate to see you as an enemy. I shut down his pipeline, the biggest pipeline. They were looking at that to fund, and this pathetic president gets in there, and the first thing he did, one of the early things he did, is he shut down Keystone XL pipeline, which is our pipeline that would have employed 48,000 people, pipeline workers, shuts it down. That was, a massive job that Obama refused to allow.
Yeah.
I allowed it in my first week because it was jobs and it moved oil. And by the way, in a much more environmentally friendly way. It's underground. It's not a truck that catches on fire or a train that catches on fire. But think of it. He shut down the XL pipeline, the Keystone XL pipeline.
Yeah.
He shuts that down, and he approves the Russian pipeline.
Yeah, it doesn't make any
Right?
sense. It's like it's inconsistent. Certainly but I mean, I think it's just worth emphasizing, to listeners the immense importance of whether the United States president is intimidating or not intimidating, and how much that matters to global security, because there's some real tough characters out there, and if they don't think the American president is tough, they will do what they want to do.
I know every one of them.
And that puts the whole world in danger.
Elon, I know every one of them, and I know them well. I know Putin. I know President Xi. I know Kim Jong-un of North Korea. I know every one of them. And let me tell you, people will say, oh, this is terrible. He said, I'm not saying anything good or bad. They're at the top of their game. They're tough. They're smart. They're vicious. And they're going to protect their country, whether they love their country. They probably do. It's just a different form of love, but they're going to protect their country. But these are tough people at the top of their game. And when they see a Kamala or when they see Biden, Sleepy Joe, they can't even believe it. They can't believe this happened. All the stuff that you're seeing now, all the horror that you look at Israel, they're all waiting for an attack from Iran. Iran would not be attacking, believe me. When I was there, and I say it with respect, because I think we would have been good with Iran. I don't want to do anything bad to Iran, but they knew not to mess around. Iran was broke because I told China, if you buy from Iran oil, it's all about the oil. That's where the money is. But if you buy oil from Iran, you're not going to do any business with the United States. And I meant it. And they said, we'll pass. They didn't buy oil. Other countries, likewise.
Sure.
You want to buy, you're not doing business with the United States. And they were at a point where they had no money for Hamas. They had no money for Hezbollah. They had no money for any of these instruments of terror. And it was amazing. In fact, there were articles when I was leaving, which is hard to believe, actually, especially when you look at what's happened to our country. Our country is so bad right now. It's such a different place. We were respected. Think of it. 4 years ago, we were so respected to a point where when I said don't buy oil, they didn't buy oil. But they had no money, and Israel would have never been attacked. Zero chance. And again, I said to Vladimir Putin, I said, don't do it. You can't do it, Vladimir. You do it, it's going to be a bad day. You cannot do it. And I told him things that what I do, and he said, no way. And I said, way. And it's the last time we ever had the conversation. He would never have done. I got along well with him. I hope to get along well with him again. Getting along well with them is a good thing, not a bad thing. I got along well with Kim Jong-un. When I met with President Obama just before entering, it's a sort of a ritual. And I sat down with him and we talked. It was supposed to be for a very short period of time. It turned out to be a long period of time. I said, what's the biggest problem? He said, North Korea. I had that problem worked out very quickly. It was nasty at the beginning with Rocket Man and, all the different things.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden I got a call.
Those were some epic tweets, by the way.
Yeah, they were epic everything. He said that he has a red button on his desk. I said, I have a red button on my desk too, but my red button is much bigger and my red button works. And then I called him Little Rocket Man of Little Rocket Man. Anyway, here's the bottom line. All of a sudden I got a call from him. And they said they want to meet. They want to meet me. And we met, as you remember, we met in Singapore. We met also in Vietnam. And I got along with them great. We were in no danger. But President Obama thought we were going to end up in a war, a nuclear war with him. And let me tell you, he's got a lot of nuclear stuff, too.
Exactly.
He's got plenty of nuclear. He can do plenty of damage. So
yes, I mean, it's because, I mean, people like Kim Jong Un, they respond to strength, not weakness.
well,
And
he
and
he and
if,
I
and
got
if
he
you
and I
project
had a good
strength,
relationship.
you're good.
Remember I met him and we walked onto his land. Nobody ever walked onto his land before. I walked onto. I wouldn't say let's bring up
cool.
Secret Service again. I wouldn't say they were thrilled when I did that. I walked onto his land, and it was an amazing period. But we were not in danger with him because of me. I always say that we have enemies on the outside and we have enemies on the inside. We have some really bad people in our government and people that are and controlling of the people. I mean, I'd mention names, but I really don't want to give them the credit. But we have some really bad, and I say they're more dangerous than Russia and China. If you have a smart president, a president that gets it, we are not in danger from those countries because they need us and they need our help. I mean, we forced Obama, if you think about it, Obama and Biden and Bush to a certain extent, in all fairness, forced Russia and China together. And if you're a history student, the first thing you learn is you cannot let Russia and China align. But then they also got, if you take a look, Iran, and they have North Korea. That's, they call it the axis of evil. In the old days, you had the axis of evil. Here we have a modern day axis of evil. These are powerful countries, very heavy nuclear, which is the biggest threat. The biggest threat is not global warming, where the ocean's going to rise 1/8 of an inch over the next 400 years. And you'll have more oceanfront property, right? The biggest threat is not that. The biggest threat is nuclear warming, because we have 5 countries now that have significant nuclear power, and we have to not allow anything to happen with stupid people like Biden. Biden did something with Russia. There was no chance of him ever going in. And when I left, and then after I left, they started forming big armies on the border with Ukraine, right? And I looked at that, and I thought he was doing that because Putin's a good negotiator. I thought he was doing that to negotiate. But then Biden started saying such stupid things. For instance, he said that it can be a NATO country. Now, Russia, for as long as there's been NATO, has said we're never going to agree to that. And we go right up front and say that. And we did things and said things through this president with a low IQ, very low IQ. He had a low IQ 30 years ago, by the way, but now he might not even have a IQ at all. There's nothing on the board that goes this low. He said things that were so stupid that war had zero chance of happening if I were there. Zero chance. He was saying everything the opposite. Everything the opposite. And it's so sad because many more people have been killed in Ukraine than you read about. You don't read about how bloody it is and how disaster.
Sure.
Hey, look, just in the 2 armies, you lost 500,000 people. And Ukraine's having a hard time. Ukraine, I don't know if you saw the article recently, and it's true. You don't hear the true story. But if you think about it, Russia's gone, Russia defeated Germany with us, and they defeated Napoleon. They've been around a long time. They're a big fighting force. And it's very unfair. And Ukraine now doesn't have enough men. They're now using young men and very old men to fight. And we're in a very bad position. And I'm not going to blame exclusively, but I can tell you, I could have stopped that. And a smart president could have stopped that. It wouldn't have happened. But we had a man that actually made it more prevalent. It was so bad. The words that he was using, the stupid threats coming from a stupid face that he was using. I said, this guy's going to cause us a war. He's going to cause us. And let me tell you, it can lead to World War III. That can lead to World War III. The Middle East can lead to. We have numerous places that could end up in a World War III right now for no reason whatsoever.
I think you're right. I think people underrate the risk of World War III, and it's just when you're looking at the risk of global thermonuclear warfare, it's game over for humanity, and it's something that people have, I think, after the end of the Cold War, people have become complacent about, but they actually have forgotten that there are currently a lot of nuclear missiles that have targeting parameters for the United States from
100%.
other countries.
And one of the things
And
we're going to do is
it's
we're going to
yeah,
build an Iron Dome over us. Israel has it. We're going to have the best Iron Dome in the world. We need it, and we're going to make it all in the United States. But we're going to have protection, because it just takes one maniac to start something. We're going to have protection, and we're going to have. Why shouldn't we have an Iron Dome? Israel has one. Some other places
yeah,
have one that nobody even knows about, frankly. But Israel has it. We're going to have an Iron Dome. But with all of that being said, to me that's so important, the most important. But with all of that being said, the election's coming up, and the people want to hear about the economy and the fact that they
absolutely,
can't
sure.
buy groceries because they don't have enough money to buy groceries. The inflation has killed them. Food prices are up 50, 60, even 100% in some cases. And this stupid administration allowed this to happen. And it's a shame. And that's the thing that people most care about, in my opinion. They care about the border a lot. And we discussed the border at great length. It's nice to have a
Yeah, yeah.
forum like this where I can discuss something at length. And by the way, you think Biden could do this interview? Do you think that Kamala could do this interview? They would take a pass on
No,
you.
they could not.
So they don't need Elon. They don't need Elon screaming out questions. It's pretty sad when you think that somebody that does this for a living can't answer a question or is afraid to do an interview. And in her case, with a very friendly interview, she's got all friendly interviewers. It's pretty sad.
Yes,
But the
absolutely.
big thing now is the
Well,
economy, Elon.
yeah,
And as much as
yeah,
I mean, I view nuclear as the single most important thing, but a lot of people don't. A lot of people don't understand that. But it doesn't have to. If I understand it, that's all you need. Because if I was president, you're not going to have that kind of a problem. But the thing that they really is making them angry is what Kamala and Biden have allowed to happen to the economy. It's a disaster with inflation. The inflation, it
yeah,
doesn't matter what you make. The inflation is eating you alive. If you're a worker or if you're just a middle income person, you can't afford. 4 years ago, 5 years ago, people were saving a lot of money. Today, they're using
yeah.
all their money and borrowing money just to live. It's a horrible thing
Right.
that's happening, and we'll end that
Well, I
quickly.
think a lot of yeah, a lot of people just don't understand where inflation comes from. Inflation comes from government overspending because the checks never bounce when it's written by the government. So if the government spends far more than it brings in, that increases the rate
All
of
ideas are
rate of
welcomed on
inflation.
my
If inflation
channel.
grows faster than the
Just
rate
want
of
to let y'all know that.
prices, that's inflation. Um, so really, we need to have we need to reduce our government spending, and we need to re-examine. I think we need like a government efficiency commission to say like, hey, where are we spending money that's sensible? Where is it not sensible? And we need to live within our means. We're currently adding, I think, $1 trillion to the deficit roughly every 100 days.
That's right.
And the interest pay.
Did Elon just say live within our means? What do you mean our? We don't have no means.
Built our military, largely rebuilt our military, did a great job on it, which was so important. We had jets, we had fighters that were, and bombers that were 70 years old. And we did a great job in that. Then by the way, we gave 85 billion of it back to Afghanistan, if you can believe it. We gave them 85 billion. They're one of the largest sellers of military equipment in the world. They're selling what we gave them. That was one of the most embarrassing days in the history of our country. But if you think about, let's go back to the economy. We have to bring energy prices down. Energy started at the price of gasoline.
I
Your
know.
cars don't require too much gasoline, so you have a good, and you do make a great product. I have to say, I have to be honest with you.
Thank
That
you.
doesn't mean everybody should have an electric car, but these are minor details. But your product is incredible. But the
Thank you.
gasoline, Elon, is the cost of energy. Not only gasoline, it's the cost of heating your house and cooling your house. That has
Sure.
to come down. It's gone up 100%, 150, and 200%, and that has to come down. When that comes down, and we're going to
Yeah.
drill,
I
baby,
know.
drill.
I
They
know.
stopped drilling, and then they
They're
went
paid
back to drilling
trolls.
because they went back to the Trump policy. But if they won the day after they get into office, this country will go out of business because they're going to go to an energy policy that's not sustainable. Wind and different things. You're not going to have anything.
Yeah.
And I know you're a big fan of the AI, and I have to say
Yeah.
that AI, and this is shocking to me, but AI requires twice the energy that the country already produces for everything. So you're going to have to build. We're going to have to build a lot of energy if our country will be competitive with China, because that's our primary competitor for this on the AI. You're
Sure.
going to need a lot of
Well, I mean,
electricity. You're going to need tremendous
yeah,
electricity, like
Cut in, Elon. Cut in.
almost double what we produce now for the whole country, if you can believe it.
sure. Well, just going, back to this, like this basic thing, which that people try to make it sound complicated, but it's not. But inflation is caused by government
Right.
overspending. Would you agree that we need to take a look at government
Yes.
spending and have perhaps a government efficiency
Like a lot
commission,
went to Ukraine.
that
A lot is going to spending money on the
tries to
southern
make the
border. People
spending
taking care of
sensible
them.
so that the country lives within its means, just like a
The
person does.
waste is incredible, and nobody
It is.
negotiates prices. You used to have a lot of people making jets, and you end up with two companies, and they'll probably try and merge at some point. I mean, I went through it like Air Force, just a thing like Air Force One. One of the first documents they asked me to sign, a general said, "Sir, would you please sign this document?" And what is it? Air Force One. That's with Boeing, which is basically two planes, two 747s. And the price was
Yeah.
$5.7 billion for two planes. Now
Wow.
they're highly sophisticated.
That's insane.
They're even nicer than your plane, okay? But much more sophisticated. They're very, I won't say what's on it, but they got a lot of stuff on it. Anyway, but it's 5.7.
That's a crazy
It's
number.
a crazy number, but I said, I'm not going to pay 5.7. I'm not going to do it. I said, who made the deal? Obama and his people. I said, well, then I know the deal's no good. I'm not going to do it. And over a course of about 4 weeks, by my saying I'm not going to do it, I got the price reduced by $1.6 billion for the exact same plane, other than we had a nicer paint job, if you want to know the truth. But for the exact same plane, I saved one. And I said to Boeing, man, you guys must make a lot of money if you can reduce the price by that. But now what I do hear is that they're going back to the Biden administration and wanting big cost overruns, because they see these dopey suckers in there, and they'll end up getting some of the money back. But I shaved it by $1.6 billion for the exact same plane. And you can now take that and multiply that out times thousands of other
Exactly.
items.
Multiply it by a
the
zillion,
numbers are
and
astronomical. I agree with you.
Well, I mean, I think it would be great to just have a government efficiency commission that takes a look at these things and just ensures that the taxpayer money, the taxpayers' hard-earned money, is spent in a good way. I'd be happy to help out on such a commission.
I'd love
if it were formed.
Well, you're the greatest cutter. I mean, I look at what you do. You walk in and you just say, you want to quit? They go on strike. I won't mention the name of the company, but they go on strike, and you say, that's okay. You're all gone. You're all gone. So every one of you is gone, and you are the greatest. You would be very good. Oh, you would love it. But, if you look at Argentina.
Well, I'd be happy to help
by the way,
out.
congratulations.
Yeah.
I just looked at the number of people that are listening to you and I chat. We'll call it a chat. But congratulations. This is very good. I mean, it's great. And you're an interesting character. The new head of a place called Argentina, and he's a big,
Malay's awesome.
he's great, and he's a big MAGA fan. That he ran on MAGA, and he took it to an extreme too. He ran on MAGA, and I hear he's doing really a terrific job. It's called Make Argentina Great Again. It worked out perfectly. He came in, he bought a lot of hats, he brought everything, but he's doing a big job. He really cut. And I'm hearing they're starting to do pretty well. Inflation's getting down. They had like 2,000%.
Exactly.
They had inflation like not normal inflation. They had the real deal. But we're going to have that pretty soon. I think we have the worst inflation we've had in 100 years. They say it's 48 years. I don't believe it. I think we have the worst. They don't include a lot of the items that should be included.
Yeah. Well, it's just from government overspending and not spending taxpayer money effectively, and having just like so many departments you can't even name them all. And what Malay is doing is he's cutting government spending. He's simplifying things. He's putting in regulations that make sense. And we're Argentina overnight is experiencing a giant improvement in prosperity, but it's also a lesson for the United States, which is that Argentina used to be one of the most prosperous countries in the world. Um, in the I think in the 30s, 40s, and because of bad government policy, it ruined the country. And if you take Venezuela, for example, Venezuela should be incredibly prosperous. They have phenomenal reserves of everything, oil, everything, and it should be prosperous. But if the government's wrong, it impoverishes the people. And so I think we should not be complacent in the United States in thinking that and taking our prosperity for granted, because if with bad government policy, we can run the country into the ground. And that's just something people should bear in mind. Don't take prosperity for granted.
Well, think of education. So we're ranked at the bottom of every list of the top 40. We're ranked number 40, number 38. Norway, Switzerland, Sweden, different countries are ranked good. Actually, China's pretty close to the top. They're a top 6 or 7. But we're ranked at the bottom, almost at the bottom, 38, 39, 40. In other words, horrible. And yet we spend more per pupil than any other country in the world. So we spend more. And what I'm going to do, one of the first acts, and this is where I need an Elon Musk. I need somebody that has a lot of strength and courage and smarts. I want to close up Department of Education, move education back to the states, where states like Iowa, where states like Idaho, not every state will do great, because states that basically aren't doing good now. You look at Gavin Newsom, the governor of California. He's terrible. He does a terrible job. So he's not going to do great with education. But of the 50, I would bet that 35 would do great, and 15 of them, or 20 of them, will be as good as Norway. Norway is considered great. You can name them. I mean, they're so good. Some of these countries are so good. But if you go into some of these really well-run states, we have states that don't know what debt is. We have states that have low taxes, no debt, everybody working. They're really well-run. Sure. And maybe they have certain advantages in terms of location, in terms of, the land or the sun and the water and the whole thing. There are a lot of advantages that some people have. But if you moved education back to the 50, you'll have some that won't do well. But they'll actually be forced to do better, because it'll be a pretty bad situation. But if you think about it, you'll have some of these states. I'll bet you'd have 30, 35 states. It'll be much better. And you know what it'll cost? Less than half what it is in Washington. And these people don't care about the students in these, faraway states. And it'd be unbelievable.
Yeah. I think you're making a good point in that if the states have to if each state has to compete against other states, then people will naturally move to states where it's better.
Well, like California, as we said, it's a badly run state. I could go through. I got so many friends that are in those states, even if they're Democrats. I hate to mention certain states, but Illinois is badly run with Pritzker. He's a real loser. But some of these places are just badly run. But it's almost going to force them to run better, and they won't do it good initially. But you're not going to do worse than you're doing right now. And I would say that the cost, you would cut your cost by 50 or 60%. And you'd have a little monitor. You want to make sure they're teaching English, as an example. Give us a little English, right?
Sure.
Right.
Yeah. No, but I mean, to what? I mean, some of these governors are doing so badly. I mean, they got so many people moving out of their state. They should get U-Haul Salesman of the Year award because they're driving so much U-Haul.
It's actually amazing.
It's just people moving out.
Isn't it amazing to you as a businessman that they can even survive? Like Illinois. So many people are leaving, and you wonder, how do they survive? I mean, how do they survive? I saw where you left California, and you moved to Texas. Texas does a great job. But, I mean, I just wonder, how do these states survive when big businesses, a big oil company just left California, as you know, and they moved to Texas. How do these big states survive when they lose so many businesses? And their taxes are already really high. The taxes are among the highest taxes. You almost wonder, how do they continue on? And in many cases, the governors don't do a good job, and they're crime-ridden places. You wonder, how do they continue to just go on? It's not a good situation.
I mean, I think the only thing that's going to force some of these states to change is if they risk bankruptcy and they're not getting bailed out by the federal government.
Right. Well,
That's
you're
the
going to
only thing
have
that's going to
that.
get them to change.
You remember the area in California where they had that, where I guess somebody had sticky fingers and they stole a lot of money, and they went into a form of chapter, and it was very nasty for a period of time. But now it's probably the most popular place in all of California. So at some point, something like that may have to happen. But the problem is, you can't penalize people that loan money to the state when you have incompetent people like a Pritzker. Look, the family didn't want him in the family business, and then he ends up being governor of Illinois. So what is he going to be? Is he going to be a great governor? And
His
you have
fat
people. I could
self
name
is
every one of them. I
horrible.
got to know every one of these, and some are very good, and some are just horrible.
He's horrible.
Well, I think that the larger point here, too, as you're saying, like a lot of people are concerned about the economy, a lot of people are concerned about inflation, and inflation is effectively a tax on people that save money, and for people that are working day to day, it's just a form of taxation, and if we can solve the government spending problem, we'll solve the inflation problem, which means people will have a better standard of living, and that's a really big deal.
Well, the people that got hurt worst are the people that did it the way they were taught to do it all through, their younger life and their young life and their whole life. The people that saved money and then they got no interest on their money and inflation destroyed them. And frankly, they were almost better off if they didn't do anything like that. I mean, those people have been absolutely decimated, and we're going to bring those people back and help those people. We've got to get the prices down. When I look at bacon costing 4 or 5 times more than it did a few years ago, when you look at some of the food products in grocery stores, people go, they can't believe it. They used to be able to buy a whole cart, and today, a lot of people just don't have the money. They go in and they can't buy anything. They look at it's sticker shock. They call it sticker shock, right?
I think it really just comes, like I said, I think it just comes down to really, I guess, two things, which is that if you solve government overspending, you solve inflation, which improves living standards of the average person, and then if you deregulate, like have sensible regulations, so because a lot of the regulations are nonsensical and cause the cost to be extreme for no reason, but unless you've got effective deregulation, like Reagan did a great job on deregulation in the 80s, but it's been 40 years since we had anyone really. I mean, during your administration, we made some progress, but I think there's opportunity to make, I think, radical progress with sensible regulation.
Elon,
those two things, those are the big deals.
We set a record. We did more deregulation and more restrictions on all of the different businesses than any other president. Remember, I had the rule for every one we put in, you have to get rid of 10 or 12. And we did radical cuts on all of that. And a lot of that's being put back by this administration. And we did radical cuts on things that weren't necessary. But we were all set. We had the best economy ever maybe in the world. And then what happened is COVID came in, and we had to focus on that, and nobody knew what it was. And I always say I got good marks on economy, good marks on military. We knocked out ISIS. We did so many different things. We rebuilt. But, I never got the credit that we really deserved on what we did with COVID. We never got the credit. But had that not happened, a gift from China, from Wuhan, came in from Wuhan, the Wuhan labs, and I always said it, and it turned out to be right. But had that not happened, we were set to start reducing debt. We were going to reduce taxes further. I gave the largest tax cuts, and we were going to reduce taxes still further for middle-income people, not only businesses. But we did it for businesses because they're the ones that's why we had the great job numbers. But we were set to really start reducing debt. And, we're sitting on the biggest pile of liquid gold anywhere in the world, bigger than Saudi Arabia, bigger than Russia. And we were going to drill, and we were going to make so much money. We were going to supply Europe with oil. I had stopped the Russian pipeline, and we were going to supply them with oil and gas. We were going to make a fortune. And then the COVID came in, and we really had to divert. Then what happened is when they came in, we kept a lot of businesses alive. If I didn't do what we did, we would have had a 1929 type.
which makes me feel that if that was going to happen and COVID hit and it kind of bankrupted us, the drilling of the oil and everything would have put us back on straight street at a quicker rate, in my opinion. What do you guys think?
Period. Interestingly, during his administration, many more people died during his administration of COVID than during my administration, and we really got the brunt of it. But people don't realize more people died during his administration than ours. But it diverted us from doing what I wanted to do. But we had the greatest for almost 3 years. We had the great, and you know that probably better than anybody. So many of your friends said to me, the best years we've ever had in business were during the Trump years, and also said that African American, Hispanic American were so incredible. They were having the best Asian American women, men, young people without a diploma, young people that graduated from the best colleges, from MIT, from the Wharton School, from all of the great colleges, Harvard. They were doing better, and people without a diploma were doing better, and everybody was happy. And then COVID came, and we had the problem is they spent trillions and trillions of dollars. They wasted. They shouldn't have taken any money, and we wouldn't be having inflation right now, which is killing our country.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I should probably say something about maybe my views on climate change and oil and gas, because I think it's probably different from what most people would assume. Because my views are actually pretty, I think, moderate in this regard, which is that I don't think we should vilify the oil and gas industry and the people that have worked very hard in those industries to provide the necessary energy to support the economy.
Unfortunately, it's not
And
me.
if we were to stop using oil and gas right
Is
now, we
I
would all be starving.
I
And the
emailed
economy would
Elon and
collapse.
Trump
So
on Twitter,
it's, I don't think
and
it's right
it's
to
on
sort
their
of
end. I have
vilify the oil
everything
and gas
cranked up to the
industry.
fullest. As you can see, my
And
mic is super loud. My speakers are
the
loud.
world has a
I
certain demand
mean, let me
for
see. Like if I
oil
put
and
this
gas,
speaker
which
right
is
here, does
probably
it sound
better if the
louder?
United States provides that than some other countries. And it would help with prosperity in the U.S. And at the same time, obviously, my view is like we do over time want to move to a sustainable energy economy, because eventually you do run out of. I mean, you run out of oil and gas. It's not there. It's not infinite. And there is some risk. I think the risk is not as high as a lot of people say it is with respect to global warming. But I think if you just keep increasing the parts per million in the atmosphere long enough, eventually it actually simply gets uncomfortable to breathe. People don't realize this. If you go past 1,000 parts per million of CO2, you start getting headaches and nausea. And so we're now in the sort of 400 range. We're adding, I think, about roughly 2 parts per million per year. So I mean, it still gives us. So what it means is like we still have quite a bit of time, but so there's not like we don't need to rush, and we don't need to stop farmers from farming or prevent people from having steaks or basic stuff like that. Like you can leave the farmers alone.
I agree. How crazy is that? Where I mean, you have farmers that are not allowed to farm anymore and have to get rid of their cattle, and the whole world is a little crazy. But it's largely taken its lead from us. I do say though, I've heard in terms of the fossil fuel, because even to create your electric car and create the electricity needed for the electric car, fossil fuel is what really creates that at the generating plants. And, so you sort of can't get away from it at this moment. I mean, someday you might be able to, but I do hear we have anywhere from 100 to 500 years left. Much of it hasn't even been found yet.
Yeah.
But there are tremendous, like Anwar. I got Anwar in Alaska approved. Ronald Reagan couldn't do it. Nobody could do it. Everybody tried. Nobody could do it. I got it approved. The first thing that Biden did was unimprove it, to get rid of it. He ended it. His secretary went in and she ended it. And what a disgrace. That's Anwar. That's bigger, or they think it could be bigger than Saudi Arabia in Alaska. Could be bigger than Saudi Arabia. But they went in and they terminated it. And I'll get it going very quickly, because not only is it big for Alaska, I mean, you talk about economic development, that for the United States, I mean, that is, they say bigger than Saudi Arabia or the same size, and pure, really good stuff. and they ended. So I think we have perhaps hundreds of years left. Nobody really knows, but during that time, something
my
will
estimate,
come around that will be
yeah,
very good.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, my estimate would be, a little more uh, aggressive than that, but it's not the sort of like we're all going to die in 5 years stuff. That's obviously BS. Um, but I mean, my view is like if you just look at sort of the parts per million that increments every year, you get sort of 2 or 3 parts per million every year of CO2. Uh, I mean, I think some of that it's problematic if it accelerates, if you start going from 2 or 3
Right.
to say 5, and then there may be some situations where you get just a step change increase in the CO2, um, and I think we don't want to get too close to 1,000 ppm, because like that's actually makes it uncomfortable to breathe. Like just existing in 1,000 ppm CO2 is uncomfortable. That's like that's considered like an industrial hazard.
Right.
Just so it's that's actually, you start getting headaches and stuff. So it's even without global warming, it's not comfortable to live. So you don't want to get too close to that. But I mean, I think we've got. I think we want to just move over, and like, and if I don't know, 50 to 100 years from now, we're I don't know, mostly sustainable. I think that'll probably be okay. So it's not like the house is on fire immediately, but I think it is something we need to move towards. And on on balance, it's probably better to move there faster than slower. But like I said, without vilifying the oil and gas industry, and without causing hardship in the short term, I think this can be done. Um, without people can still have a stake, and they can still drive gasoline cars, and this it's okay. It's like, it's not, I don't think we should vilify people for it, but I think we should just generally lean in the direction of sustainability. And I actually think solar is going to be a majority of Earth's energy generation in the future, and it's certainly trending that way. And so you get the solar power, combine that with batteries, so because obviously the sun doesn't shine at night, and then you use that to charge the electric cars, and you have a long-term sustainable solution. And that's what Tesla is trying to move things towards, and I think we've made a lot of progress in that regard. But when you look at our cars, we don't believe that environmentalism, that caring about the environment should mean that you have to suffer. So we make sure that our cars are beautiful, that they drive well, that they're fast, they're sexy. I mean, they're cool. In fact, literally, I mean, the sexy joke, Model S, Model 3, Model X, and Y spells out sexy. It's probably the most expensive joke out there. But I don't know, I like cheesy humor, so but I'm not, I'm a big fan of, like, let's have an inspiring future, and let's work towards a better future, and we do so without demonizing
Right.
people.
I'm okay. It's very interesting. You use the word global warming, and today they use the word climate change because you have some places that go up and stuff. So they were getting themselves in a little trouble with the word global warming, because not every place is warming. Some places are going the opposite direction. But I'm sort of waiting for you to come up with
BS.
solar panels on the roofs of your cars and on the trunks of the cars, and it just seems like something that at some point you will come up with. I'm sure you'll be the first. But it would seem that a solar panel on the roofs, on flat surfaces, on certain surfaces might be good.
Yeah.
At least in certain areas of the country where you have the world.
Sure.
Where you have the sun. But I would think, and I have no idea because that's not my world, but I would think that this would be something that would be interesting. But the one thing that I don't understand is that people talk about global warming or they talk about climate change, but they never talk about nuclear warming. And to me,
Sure.
that's an immediate problem, because you have, as I said, 5 countries where you have major nuclear, and probably some others are getting there, and that's very dangerous. That's where you need a strong American president, because you don't want to have this proliferation. But you have 5 countries and getting more. China is much less than us right now, but they're going to catch us sooner than people think. They're way lower. Russia and us are number 1, and I mean, we're sort of tied. And China is far behind, but they're developing at a level that you're not surprised to hear, very fast. They'll end up catching up. maybe even
Yeah.
surpassing. But to me, the biggest problem is not climate change. It's not, and everything's a problem, but it's degrees. To me, the big problem is the nuclear power. The power of nuclear is so great. And when I talk about I'll
Nuclear power
prevent
is
world,
underrated.
yeah,
It's
I'll
awesome.
prevent World War III. I will. But the truth is that you have to, because this is no longer army tanks going back and forth and shooting at each other. This is a level of destruction and power that nobody's ever seen before.
Yeah, and actually, there's the bad side of nuclear, which is a nuclear war, very bad side. But there's also, I think, nuclear electricity generation
Absolutely.
is underrated.
You're right.
And it's actually, people have this fear of nuclear electricity generation, but it's actually one of the safest forms of electricity generation. It's just a huge misunderstanding. And if you look at the injuries and deaths, caused by, say, I mean, I'm not going to try to pick on coal mining, but just any kind of mining operation. And there's a certain number of injuries and deaths per year. And you compare that to nuclear. Nuclear is actually way better. So it's underrated as an electricity source, and I think it's something that's worth reconsidering. But there's so much regulation that people can't get it done. So that
maybe they'll have to change the name. The name is it's a rough name. There are some areas like
it's rough
when you see what happened in
good bad branding.
Right,
The
we'll have to
rough.
rebrand it. We'll have to give it a good name. We'll name it after you or something. No, it has a branding problem. When you see what happened,
it does have a branding problem.
When you see what happened in Japan, where they say you won't be able to go on the land for about 3,000 years. Did you ever see that? And in Russia, where they had the problem, where they, there's a lot of bad things happened, and they have a problem. And they say that in 2,000 years, people will start to occupy the land again. You realize it's pretty bad.
No, that's not true.
But you're right about it. It's amazing.
It's actually not that bad. So like after Fukushima happened in Japan, like people were asking me in California, are we worried about like a nuclear cloud coming from Japan? I'm like, no, that's crazy. It's actually, it's not even dangerous in Fukushima. I actually flew there and ate locally grown vegetables on TV to prove it. And I donated a solar water treatment, a solar powered system for a water treatment plant. And
but you haven't been feeling so well lately, and I'm worried about it.
No, but I mean,
I'm only kidding.
It's
I'm
fine, It's like,
got him.
Hiroshima and Nagasaki were bombed, but now they're like full cities again. So it's really not something that
That's right.
So it's not as scary as people think, basically. But let's see. I mean, are there some other topics we should touch on? Like lawfare. I think we need to be concerned about
what they've done to this country.
Obviously.
Yeah. Well, we just won the big case in Florida. This was a Biden administration did something that's never been done in this country, and that's go after their political opponent, me, with this nonsense and just nonsense. And the big case in Florida we won, but they always pick a judge and a jury, and they use local DAs. They use the local attorney generals, like Fani, Fani, spelled Fani, Fani. And it's all a big hoax, and it's all run from there. Like in Manhattan, one of the top people from the Justice Department went in, ran Manhattan, ran the state. The Letitia James deal was run by a person from the Department of Justice, Biden. They've never done this before, and they set up a very bad precedent. It's called lawfare, warfare. It's a terrible thing, and never happened in our country. It does happen in banana republics and third world countries, but it's never happened. And the incredible thing is it actually drove my numbers up because people see, fortunately I have a platform like you, or, in all fairness, like a conversation like this, where I can talk about it and people understand. I mean, you fight for election integrity and you end up getting indicted because you're fighting for election integrity. And when the day comes that you can't fight for election integrity, you don't have a country anymore. So what happens is they went after their political opponent, me. Now Biden's, close to vegetable stage, in my opinion. Okay. I looked at him today on the beach and I said, why would anybody allow him? The guy could barely walk. Why would anybody allow him? Does he have a political advisor that thinks this looks good? He thinks this looks good because it looks so bad. and it's ridiculous. I mean, and he's been doing that for a long time. You know, he can't lift the chair. The chair weighs about 3 ounces. It's meant for children and old people to lift, and he can't lift it.
Trump is
The
trolling.
whole thing is
Well,
crazy.
he's clearly not, I mean, he's clearly like, we just don't have a president right
You
now.
don't
That's
have a
just obviously
president,
the
and
case.
she's going to be worse than him because she is a San Francisco liberal who destroyed San Francisco, and then as Attorney General, she destroyed California. You talk about location, and we're talking about the sun and the water and all. There's nothing better than California. She has destroyed that. She was the original DA. She was the original in San Francisco. She was the original Attorney General in California. What she has done to California is, well, you know better than I do. You just left California for a lot of those reasons. And what she's done with crime, with cashless bail, where you kill somebody. I mean, we have states now you kill somebody and they let you out right away. I mean, you don't have to even put up, and then they never find the people unless they kill again, and then they let them out again. Our country is becoming a very dangerous place. And she is a radical left San Francisco liberal. And now she's trying to protect. Now she's looking like she wants to be more Trump than Trump, if that's possible. I don't think it's possible, but she wants to be more Trump than Trump.
Yeah.
I want a wall. I
think that's,
you know, she wants to release all the prisoners that are in detention, and some of these guys are really bad.
right.
That just came
Yeah, I
out
just saw
today.
that.
She doesn't want to build the wall, even though the walls work. Walls and wheels. You know, in your business, everything you do is obsolete. Almost, well, not the tunnels, but everything is obsolete. Even your rocket ships, they're like a month later, they're obsolete. You find a better way to. The only thing that's not obsolete is a wall and a wheel. And the wall, you know, I built hundreds of miles of wall, and that's why we had such good numbers. I was going to add 200 miles. We bought it. We could have flipped it up in 3 weeks, and they sold it for 5 cents on the dollar. That meant, I said, wow, that means that they actually do want to have open borders. She wants to have open borders, and now she's going like she's tough on the border. It's such a lie.
Yeah, this is simply not true. This is simply not true.
No, and everybody knows it's not true. It's a disgrace that she can say it.
No, I mean, obviously, what's happening sort of overnight is they're rewriting history and making Kamala sound like a moderate when in fact she is far left, like far left.
Worse than Bernie Sanders. She is considered more liberal by far than Bernie Sanders. She's a radical left lunatic, and if she's going to be our president, very quickly, you're not going to have a country anymore. And she'll go back to all of the things that she believes in. She believes in defunding the police. She believes in no fracking, zero. Now all of a sudden she's saying, no, I really want to see fracking. If they got in, the day she got in, she'll end fracking. And by the way, if people didn't think that, the lunatics that really believe in that, they won't vote for her. You know, like the Palestinians and Israel. She is so anti-Israel, and she's bad for both. Biden actually did something that was impossible. Both sides hate him, you know, both sides. That was a hard thing to do, unification.
Yeah, no. I mean, Netanyahu came to give a talk to a joint Senate and House sitting, and I was there, and Kamala stood him up. You know, what does that say?
I think it's highly disrespectful. And I say, if you're a Jewish person or if you believe in Israel, if you're a person that, you know, is a very pro-Israel, if you vote for her, it's worse than Biden. And Biden was bad. But if you vote for her, you ought to have your head examined. And you see tonight, I mean, as we're doing this, I'm seeing reports coming that they expect an attack tonight or tomorrow from hundreds and maybe thousands of rockets. You know, their Iron Dome, as they call it, as we all call it, but their shield that they build, that can be swamped. We'll use the term that's appropriate, swamped. But they swamp it by shooting enough missiles. You know this better than anybody. By shooting enough missiles, they can't defend themselves. You know, they just obliterate the whole place. And that's what some people think they're looking to do. And we have no leadership. There's no respect for the United States of America with these people. And I'm telling you, she'll be worse than him because she's a believer in being radical left, and he wasn't.
I think you're right. I mean, you really, it's important for the public that may be listening to this to look at Kamala's track record, before the last like month, and say, is that a track record you agree with? And I think if you're an independent moderate, you definitely would not agree with it, because it is her behavior has been far left, and we're seeing just an overnight propaganda attempt to rewrite history and make it sound like Kamala's moderate when she in fact is not moderate.
Well, her
So I
her
think that,
running mate approved, signed into legislation, tampons in boys' bathrooms. Okay, now
yeah,
that's
yeah,
all
that's
I have
weird.
to hear. Tampons in
That's
boys'
weird.
bathrooms, and that means she
Yeah,
believes in that too. I mean,
yeah,
she
that's
she
not
picked
okay.
this guy because he was the closest to her. A lot of people thought she'd pick sort of the opposite, but she picked an anti-Israel radical left person. But she is far worse, they say, than Bernie Sanders. If we have her as a president, if we have a Democrat at this moment as a president, I don't think our country can survive.
I think it's a massive. I think we're in massive trouble, frankly, with the Kamala administration, and that's my honest opinion. And I think really it's essential that you win for the good of the country for this election, and I mean that's understating my opinion. Now, you may have seen this, but I got a letter from the EU Commission, like saying, to not have disinformation on during this discussion that we're having, like, and there's a lot of attempts to do censorship and to force censorship even on Americans from other countries, and what do you think about that?
Well, I know the European Union very well. They take great advantage of the United States in trade, as you know. We, through a different forum, NATO, we protect them. And yet, if you build a car in the United States, you can't sell it in Europe. You just can't sell it. It's impossible. The same thing with our farmers. Our farmers find it very difficult to do business. We have a deficit with them of $250 billion, which people don't know. It sounds so nice, the European Union, but let me tell you, they're not as tough as China, but they're bad. And I let them know it. And that's probably why they notified you. No, they don't treat our country well. We defend them, with Ukraine. So we're in for 250 billion, and they're in for about 71 billion, and they have the same size. If you add up the European nations that in terms of an economy, it's about the same size. When you say as us, and they're in,
Yeah,
and they're in much greater risk. They're right there. We have an ocean separating us from, in this case, the enemy would be Russia. It used to be for the
yeah,
Soviet Union, but let's assume they're close enough. And what happens is they're in for 70 something million. I think even less than that, billion, and we're in for about 250 billion, and it could be a lot higher than that. And I say, why aren't you going to equalize? Why aren't they paying what we're paying? And they're in much more, it's much more important for them because of the fact that, they're right near there. I mean, they're all sort of in that location. We're not. But
yeah,
they should, and I did it with NATO. There were only 7 countries that were paid up in NATO out of 28 at the time. And the United States
yeah,
was the United States was subsidizing NATO, tremendously subsidizing NATO. And I said, I
yeah,
went in and I said, you
yeah.
got to pay up. If you don't pay up, we're not going to defend you any longer. I took a lot of heat, but you know what happened? Billions and billions of dollars came flowing in. And,
Yeah, I think a lot of the public isn't aware of the fact that the United States pays a disproportionate share of the NATO expenses,
and then we get
even though
taken advantage of on trade. So think about it.
well, I mean, the point of NATO is defending Europe, and it's it's like, then okay, well, why is the United States paying disproportionately more to defend Europe than Europe? That doesn't make sense. That's unfair, and that is an appropriate thing to address.
Well,
That's
when you
because
talk about
politicians are
cost
making money
cutting
off of them
potatoes
in the
and
United
everything else,
States. Politicians here are
I
making
mean,
money off of that.
honestly, look, there's nobody that feels worse about the Ukraine situation than I do because I know it would have never happened. I know Zelensky. He was very honorable to me because when they went with the Russia hoax and they said I had a phone call with him, he said it was a perfect phone call. It was a great phone call. He could have grandstanded and, said, oh, he was very threatening. He said, no, it was a very nice phone call. I called him up to congratulate him on his win, and you end up getting impeached because these people are lunatics. I was talking about the difference from the people within and the enemies on the outside. In many cases, the people from within are more dangerous for our country than the Russias and the Chinas. If you have a smart president, you're not going to have a problem with them. You're going to do things.
Yeah.
Now they've taken advantage of us
absolutely.
incredibly, but you're going to do things with the right person.
Yeah, well, I think it's obvious that you're a believer and an advocate of free speech, because during your first term as president, you were attacked relentlessly every day, often very unfairly with with false attacks, and you didn't try to shut down the media. You didn't try to inhibit their freedom of speech, and I think that says a lot.
Well, the good thing is that you and I have, and some people, very few, we can get the word out. Although sometimes it's hard because they don't want to print it, like we're having a great conversation right now. Kamala wouldn't have this conversation. She can't because she's not smart. She's not a smart person, by the way. She can't have this conversation. And Biden, we don't even have to talk about it. I mean, he couldn't have this conversation. He would have given up on the first half of a question. He would have walked out. He would have said, where am I? Where am I going? So anyway, but no, he wouldn't have this.
That's true.
Not a lot of people would have this conversation, but we cover a lot of territory. But the beauty is that we can have a conversation, and I'm able to get it out without, because I get treated unfairly.
This is a really big point. You can actually have a conversation with you.
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it?
And you can't have a conversation with Biden or Kamala. It's like it's not possible.
That's true.
This is like talking to an NPC.
No.
So it's just impossible.
Well, but think of it. We need a man or person who's unbelievably sharp in order to stop all the nuclear dangers.
Y'all didn't catch that. Yeah, I'm sorry. I got to stop right
And I
there.
got along with all these. I got along with Kim Jong-un. We had dinner.
Well, Trump is repeating himself right now, so I'm gonna just cut in a little bit. I don't think y'all caught that. If you're not a gamer, you don't know when Elon Musk talking to Kamala Harris or Joe Biden is like talking to an NPC. That is hilarious.
I saw things that you don't want to know about. He is the boss. But we had a good relationship, and he doesn't like Biden. He considers him a stupid man. He said he's a stupid man. Well, at least he speaks his mind. But in this country, you're not sort of allowed to say it, but I guess you are. You should be allowed to say it if it's true. But we need smart people, and we need people that have an ability to lead. And she doesn't have that ability. Can you imagine? Now, Chairman Xi very well. Can you imagine her and him negotiating, or even standing together? It is, the whole concept is ridiculous. She is terrible. She's terrible. But she's getting a free ride. I saw a picture of her on Time Magazine today. She looks like the most beautiful actress ever to live. It was a drawing. And actually, she looked very much like our great First Lady, Melania. She didn't look like Camilla. That's right. But of course, she's a beautiful woman. So we'll leave it at that, right?
Yeah. Well, maybe like, I think part of what, people in America want to, people in America want to feel excited and inspired about the future. They want to feel like the future is going to be better than the past, and that America is going to do things that are greater than we've done in the past, reach new heights that make you proud to be an American, and excited about the future.
They want the American dream back. They want the American dream back. More important than anything else. It's like, you don't have that today because the people, they've been just sucked. They see incompetent people running our. The Biden thing is very interesting. People just found him to be incompetent. And when I debated him, I was like, is this for real? It was.
Yeah, it was just absurd. But I think there are, like, some grand projects that we could do. I mean, I think, like, we could build a base on the moon. We could send American astronauts to Mars. We could build high-speed connections that are more advanced than anything else in the world between our cities, so people have fast transport. It's possible to solve traffic with tunnels. We've already made great progress in Vegas doing that, and and just do things that are exciting and inspiring and make the future feel like it's better than the past.
Well, I saw what you did in Vegas, and I'll tell you, it was amazing. I got to see I took a big glimpse at it, and it's incredible. It's incredible, and you could do that all over. You could do that all over. It's deep.
Yeah,
You
and
don't even need much structure, assuming you're in the right areas.
no, it's straightforward.
It's amazing.
So I think we could do some things that like China's got incredible high speed rail between its cities, but I think it's actually possible with tunnels if with deregulation with an ability to actually where it's like legal to actually do the tunnels. Then you could have high speed tunnels that are actually better than anything else in the world for high speed transport between cities, and that would be something that Americans can say, wow, okay, we've got something that's cooler than anyone else in the world. That's the kind of thing that makes you proud to be an American.
And much safer than surface trains, where there is a danger there, with crazy people. It's much safer, much better. And it's sad because I've seen some of the greatest trains. I find it fascinating, and I've seen the systems and how they work, and the bullet trains they call them, I guess, and they go unbelievably fast, unbelievably comfortable, with no problems. And we don't have anything like that in this country, not even close. And it doesn't make sense that we don't. Doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and I think also like there's I'm kind of hopping on the excess regulation, but I think something that like I think people can generally understand is that what happens with laws and regulations is that there's more and more of them every year, and unless there's a process to clean them up, eventually everything becomes illegal, and that actually it slows down the development of new technologies. I mean, if you take the sort of like I think there's room for some reform at the FDA for improving the speed with which we approve drugs that could help save lives and improve people's lives. And
I worked very hard on that. We got that down to the lowest number ever, and we got therapeutics approved in the FDA that people can't even believe the speed. But I took them on. I don't think they like me too much, but I got things approved in the FDA at numbers that they wouldn't believe. And it's a very bureaucratic group. Actually, it's a fine group of people in many cases. I got to know a lot of them, but I was pushing them really hard for Regeneron, for so many different things that were really pretty amazing. But the FDA takes too long. It's 12 years to get a product approved. I got it down to 4, and I got some things done very quickly. But it's really something that is going to have to be worked on because it takes too long. Just takes too long.
Yeah, it just takes too long, and it's you end up in the same with the approval, but it just it takes years instead of something that I think could potentially take months, and that improves people's lives. I think I just wanted to hop on this point that like there has to be an active process for reducing rules and regulations, because otherwise they just keep building up every year, and you get like hardening of the arteries, and eventually everything's illegal or takes forever, and then we just ossify as a society. We can't make any progress, and it's a really big deal.
Elon, just getting back to the FDA for 1 second, I got something done called Right to Try. This is where you can go in, and if you're terminally ill, you can use a space age, medicine or whatever it may be. We have the best doctors, the best labs in the world. We really do. But people would go to other countries because you couldn't use the product, even if they thought it worked, because it's going through the FDA. I got it approved where you can, you basically, look, nobody wanted, the doctors didn't want it because of the liability. The country didn't want it, our country, because they didn't want to get sued. These are people terminally ill. The insurance companies didn't want it, and the pharmaceutical companies, nobody wanted it. I got everybody into a room, and we came up with an agreement that you won't get sued. And also, they didn't want it on their record. If somebody's terminally ill and they die after taking a drug, they didn't want that on their record. So we set a separate list if somebody was, so it wouldn't count as a negative. Okay. And as you know, we got it done. We have saved Right to Try. They've been trying to get this done for 58 years, and it sounds simple, but it wasn't, because the insurance companies, nobody wanted it, but we got it done. Somebody you sign a document that you're not going to sue the insurance companies, the country, you're not going to sue anybody. And we got it done, and we're saving tens of thousands of lives. Right to Try. Hopefully you never need it, but if you do, You don't have to travel to Asia. You know, people,
Right.
if they had money, they go to
Yeah,
Asia, they
sure.
go to Europe. If they don't have money, they go home and die. That's what happened. They'd go home and die.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and actually, to give Europe some props here, it's like if a drug is approved in Europe, which has a crazy amount of regulations, it should obviously be approved in the U.S.
Yeah.
I mean, they get more regulations than we do. So why would a drug be approved in Europe and not in the U.S.? That's crazy.
Well, we did it. We
Um,
did something that really, they've been trying to do it for 50 years and they just couldn't get it done. And I got it done. And it's really something. But you're right. Some people go to Europe because a drug isn't approved here, but it's approved in Europe. And it's a drug that, generally speaking, would
Yeah.
work. It's pretty crazy.
Absolutely.
You're right.
And I think so, as long as people are properly informed of the pros and cons and like these are the risks, this is the risk, and like you make your own decision. That makes sense.
Well, I think just, you know,
So
in sort of closing up, and by the way, I'm looking at the numbers. You got a lot of people listening. I hope you don't get
yeah,
nervous because you got a lot of people listening to you right now, like 60 million or something. What is that number? It's crazy. It's amazing how you can see that right away. How many? What is the number? Wow. What is it?
well,
Wow.
I think in
Wow,
terms of people that
that's bigger than you said. You said 25 and you're much more than double that number, 25 million. I think you're going to be 60 or 70. And I guess over a period of time, hey, I congratulate you. Do I get paid for this or not?
well, I think actually in terms of the number of people that will hear this conversation over the next few days to
Right.
weeks, it's going to be hundreds.
That's
of
what they
millions.
say. Yeah, that's good. Well, look, it's an
Yeah.
honor. But I just asked this, are you better off now or were you better off when I was president? Nobody's better off now. People, you know, we put out polls on that and nobody's better off now. Inflation has killed it. And, you know, they also feel very unsafe. You look at what's going on with a lot of different things. You look at the riots we had at the
Yeah.
colleges over, I mean, it's ridiculous, but
Right.
all of the riots, they just feel unsafe. And now they really feel unsafe because you have a new form of crime. It's called migrant crime. I call it Biden migrant
yeah.
crime. Maybe I'll call it
Well,
Kamala migrant crime. But
you know, I mean, with all these things, I always try to get to the ground truth by just asking people. And you know, my mom lives in New York, and I was like, you know, Mom, you know, do you know, have any of your friends, you know, been attacked or assaulted? And she said, yeah, 3 of her friends in 3 separate
Crazy.
incidents were assaulted just in recent months, just walking around the streets in New York. And I said, well, what happened to the people that assaulted them? Oh, nothing. They got away. Like, and they just know
they
that
always get away.
nothing's going to, and they don't even bother reporting it because they know that they're not going to, you know, people are not going to get prosecuted. They just let, you know, violent criminals out in New York.
The only one that gets
zero bail.
prosecuted is Donald Trump. They prosecute Trump.
Yeah, I mean, it's just obviously messed up.
Oh, it's terrible.
If violent criminals are getting off scot free, and meanwhile the you know, New York spending massive resources prosecuting you, and it's like, what's this, you know, and I think the sort of sensible public looks at this and says, what the heck's going on here? This is obviously abuse of the legal system. You know, the legal system is supposed to be protecting the public from violent criminals, and it should be obviously allowing the public to make their own decision about who should be president, as opposed to, you know, some you know, legal case.
Once they start this precedent, because this can go on with the next one. I mean, this is a very bad precedent what they're doing in terms of, you know, going after their political opponent, and that's all it is. It's going after their political opponent, and then you get a judge who's, you know, a strong Democrat, and I'm being nice when I say that. In many cases, crooked as hell. But you get a judge, and you go into an area where a Republican gets 3 or 4% of the vote, and you know you'll have a jury pool with people that hate Republicans or hate. It could also be the other way, though, because it could start the other way in areas where they hate Democrats, and you get into a Pandora's box. It's a very dangerous thing for this country, and a very dangerous thing even for the state. New York City is losing. New York City and state lose a lot of business over what they did to me, because these people say, we don't want that to happen to us. That's no justice system. You have an unfair system of justice, and it's costing New York State a tremendous amount of money. People are leaving and companies are leaving, and they won't come back. So, all of that stuff is important. But the economy now is the big thing, and we can turn that economy up so fast, and people are going to be back again. We're going to get rid of inflation.
I think there's a lot of opportunity.
Right.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So,
and I just want to
I
want to
think,
congratulate you. You've done an amazing job. You have definitely got a fertile mind. We can talk. You and I can talk about rockets.
well, it's kind of you to say. Thank
No,
you.
only
tunnels.
you
We
would be
can talk
talking,
about
Trump.
tunnels and rockets and electric cars. So many things. And now you're into the AI, and that's going to be another beauty, I'll say. So it's an amazing thing you've done, Elon. It's an amazing thing, and I congratulate you.
I mean, thank you. And I just say here, here's to an exciting, inspiring future that people can look forward to and be optimistic and excited about what happens next. And that's the kind of future that I think you will bring as president, and that's why I endorse you.
Well, I appreciate that. That endorsement meant a lot to me. Not all endorsements mean that much, to be honest. Your endorsement meant a lot. And, we have a phrase, make America great again. It's pretty simple, but it really says that we want to make America great again. And we can do it. We can do it now. But if we were going to suffer another 4 years like we've suffered for the last 4 years, I'm not sure the country can ever come back. That's how bad it is. It's so bad. We have to do a lot of things.
I think that's a very real risk.
Yeah, it's a big risk.
It's a very real risk.
Yeah.
And it's, I'd just like to note to people listening, like I've not been very political before. And if you look at my record, I've actually been, I'm not like, some they try to paint me as like a far right guy, which is absurd because I'm like making electric vehicles and, solar and batteries helping with the environment. And I actually, I supported Obama. I stood in line for 6 hours to shake Obama's hand when he was running for president. And, so it's not like I'm like some sort of dyed-in-the-wool long-term Republican. I'd call myself, historically a moderate Democrat. But now I feel like we're really at a critical juncture for the country. I think a lot of people thought, the Biden administration would be a moderate administration, but it's not. And obviously, we're just going to see an even further left administration with Kamala. That's my honest opinion. I mean, her dad is literally. She was brought up as an actual. Her dad is a Marxist economist. You can Google it. I mean, it's not we're not making this up. That's how she was brought up. So, we want to have a future that is prosperous, and I think we're just at this critical juncture, and I think this is a case of the America is kind of at a fork in the road, and
true.
And I think it will take the path to, like, you are the path to prosperity, and I think Kamala is the opposite. Then that's my honest opinion. I'm gonna get attacked like crazy, and I've also experienced quite a bit of lawfare myself, but I'm just trying to tell people my honest opinion, and I haven't been really active in politics before, and I'm just trying to point out that my track record historically has been moderate, if not moderate, slightly left, and so this is to people out there who are in the moderate camp to say, I think you should support Donald Trump for president, and I think it's actually a very important junction in the road, and we're in deep trouble if it goes the other way.
Well, I want to thank you, and I actually always did think of you as somewhat left. I must say that. So it's even more of an honor to have your endorsement. I know how strong you feel about it. But, when you think of her, San Francisco, 15 years ago, I had a great friend, Bob Tish. He said it's the greatest city in America. And now it's almost not livable there. And California, likewise. And she was involved in the destruction of San Francisco and the destruction of California. And she will be involved in the destruction of our country if people are so unwise as to elect her. And I hope that doesn't happen. And I hope the elections are going to be run honestly. And we're going to turn this country around. We're going to do things and we can do it fairly quickly. And we have to get rid of the criminals that have been, given to us by other countries as they laugh. They laugh at us. They think we're stupid to accept these people. These are radical, stone cold killers in many cases.
I love you, Trump, but you've already said this.
And they're in our country by the hundreds of thousands.
Yeah.
And we have to take them out.
Did he forget that he said?
Yeah, no, if I could summarize it, perhaps, I think these are issues that I think most people in America would agree with, which is that we want safe and clean cities, we want secure borders, we want sensible government spending, we want to restore both the perception and reality of respect in the judicial system, just stop the lawfare, and I think that's like, and how are those even right-wing positions? I think those are just that's just common sense, and that's I mean, would you agree with that?
100%. I don't understand, the whole, they call it progressive. They don't like the word liberal anymore, but call it liberal or progressive. I don't understand how somebody could say that it's okay for them to empty prisons into our country. And again, I told you, their crime rates all over the world are going way down, which makes sense. In fact, the next time what we'll do is, if something happens with this election, which would be a horror show, we'll meet the next time in Venezuela, because it'll be a far safer place to meet than our country. Okay, so we'll go. You and I will go, and we'll have a meeting and dinner in Venezuela.
I'm going to,
because that's what's happening. Their crime rates coming down, and our crime rates going through the roof. And it's so simple. And you haven't seen anything yet, because these people have come into our country and they're just getting acclimated, and they don't know about being politically correct law enforcement or lack of law enforcement. And our police, I have to just end with this. We have great police. We have great law enforcement, but they're not allowed to do their job. They have to be able to do their job without being destroyed.
Well, absolutely, and it's obviously demoralizing if you're a police officer risking your life to arrest violent criminals who could kill you and do kill you sometimes.
Supron with the $10 super chat says, "Thank you." Hey sis, I appreciate you very much.
The DA, doesn't prosecute and that's let the guy out. Well, then, like, why should a police officer risk their life to arrest a violent felon?
Well, even worse, Elon,
nothing's going to happen.
Even worse, they prosecute the police officer. They go after it, and they prosecute the police officer, and they take away his pension, they take away his job, he loses his family, he loses his house.
Well, I thought it was very telling, like incredibly telling, that when there was that case where sort of a gang of thugs beat up police officers. I think it was in Times Square in New York, and then nothing happened to those guys. They were let out, zero bail, and I think a bunch of them were given free tickets to California. Well, what is I mean, that is a gross indignity against the United States, and that's how, I mean, this is insane. Like, have we lost all pride? How can such a thing be allowed to occur?
I've never seen anything. We see where they get shot. It's a very dangerous profession, but it's something they're very proud of, and they want to be able to do their job. But I've seen them get shot. I've seen a lot of things. But I've never seen where these guys are standing in the middle of a big street, everybody watching them, and they're literally boxing, like punching, stand-up fighting a police officer. There were two of them, and yet about six of these guys, and they're punching the hell out of them. And in their own country, they would be dead if they did that. They'd be shot. They would be shot instantly. And, they come from these countries, and it's taking them a while to realize that we don't do that in this country. But in their own country, if they stood on a street and had a fight with a police officer, they would be shot. There's no political correctness. And it's such a sad, it's such a sad thing to see. And that's the reason you have crime, by the way, because we don't do anything about it.
Yeah, we just cannot have a situation where our police officers are beaten up on camera by a gang of illegal immigrants, and then nothing happens to the guys that beat up the cops. I mean, and they're let out. This is unacceptable.
Well, we're going to change it, and we're going to get them out of the country. When I first got involved, they said you couldn't get them back to these countries. You couldn't take them back. In the case of Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, some others, you couldn't get them back. And I said, really? Oh, you can't get them back? Because under Obama, he couldn't get them back. They'd fly them in, and they'd put planes on the runways in these countries so you couldn't land a plane. They'd bring them back. And the generals told me, sir, we can't bring them back. The countries won't accept MS-13 gang members. They won't accept them. And I said, really, how much do we pay these various countries in terms of economic aid, which is also somewhat ridiculous? And the answer was $750 million. I said, good. Tell them they're in default. They're delinquent. We're not paying them anymore because they won't accept it. And you know what happened? They all called me, every one of them. They said, we would be honored to take them back, sir. We would be honored. It was so easy. But it's one of those things. And we got it back. We took in so many,
This stuff
MS-13 is
pisses me
probably
off.
the worst gangs in the world. They're the most vicious, violent. We took them out of here by the thousands and got them out of here. And their countries took them back. And because I said, you're not getting any more economic aid. And once I said that, they were nice. They wouldn't take them back for Obama.
yeah.
They wouldn't take them back for anybody. And now we have a problem because we have this guy, and they don't take him back anymore with Biden because they don't respect him.
Yeah. It's just gotta be done. We just can't have whether they're citizens or not citizens. We can't have, because they won't prosecute citizens either. Not just illegals.
Sending them back is not good enough.
If it's you
Beat
can't have
their butts.
violent, repeat violent offenders that are not that don't get incarcerated.
That's right.
Because they will obviously, by definition,
Whoop
continue
their
to
butts.
hurt people. And I think where part of this comes from is that there's and I do sort of consider myself liberal in some ways. I mean, it's just that you want to have empathy for
Right.
people. Obviously, you want to have empathy for people. I
Not for
totally
no
agree with
criminals.
that. You want to have empathy, but you also have to have empathy for the victims of the criminals. And if you just have empathy for the criminals, it's actually shallow empathy. It's not real. You're not thinking. You're one layer deep empathy. You got to say, like, what if you don't incarcerate this person? Who are they going to
Beat
hurt?
them,
Who are they
then
might kill someone,
incarcerate
they might
them.
rape someone. If you don't incarcerate them, you have to have empathy for the victims. And there's a lack of empathy for the victims of the criminals, and too much empathy for the criminals. It doesn't make
Yes,
sense.
sympathy for the
That's right.
devil.
You want to have deep empathy for society as a whole, not shallow empathy for
Right.
criminals.
And we have
No
to give
empathy
our
for no
police
criminals at
officers
all.
the dignity and the respect that they deserve. And we have to let them do their job. They can do a great job, but we have to let them do their job. And if we don't do that, it's going to all disappear. There's never been a society like this where you're allowed to do anything you want and nothing happens. And I'm talking about violent crime. And it's going to get more violent because these are really, really violent people. And we're going to get them out of our country, and we're going to get them back to because they were sent here by the presidents and by the various people that run those countries. And I know every one of those guys. And they're smart people, and they're streetwise people. And they really think that the USA is stupid. They think we're run by stupid people, and they happen to be right. But when I was there, we had no problem. We got them out. We took out thousands of MS-13 gang members. We brought them back. And now, again, it's the same old story. We don't do it.
Bro,
And they
get
actually gave
straight
them a
on
big
these people.
increase in aid. They raised it up to billions of dollars, and they get nothing for it. So, I hope everybody's going to vote for Trump, and we're going to get this country straight.
Yeah.
And I didn't need this. I'm like you. I didn't need this. I had a very nice
Yeah.
life. I didn't need to go through court systems and go through all the
Trump
other
is like a
stuff and
pastor.
run
He
at
has
the
like
same time. I
16
have to
altar
run.
calls.
I have to go through fake trials with, in some cases, corrupt judges, totally corrupt judges. I didn't need it. I had a nice life. I have great locations. I have beautiful oceans
You
that I
still
have
do.
places. But I felt it was important. And if I had to do it over again, you probably think I'm crazy for doing it, actually. But if I had to do it over again, I would have done it over again, because this is so much more important than me or my life. We're going to save this country. This country is going down. And these people are bad people that we're running against, and they're liars. They make statements. They do things that are so bad. They say they're going to make a strong border. They say they've been great on the border, and they've been the worst in history. They say they're going to stop
horrible.
crime.
Like, the facts speak for themselves.
It's so incredible.
Speak for themselves. Like it's gotten to the point where people just don't even bother reporting crime in a lot of
That's
cities
right.
because they know nothing is going to happen. That's what I hear anecdotally from
Take
people
care
all
of
the
it
time.
ourselves.
So it's just my values. I'm just saying to people out there, like the things I think are important for the future is, like, we've got to have safe cities, we've got to have secure borders, we've got to have sensible spending,
Just saying.
and we've got to have deregulation, and
Right.
so we can have a prosperous future, and then we want to have some exciting,
Just saying.
sort of moonshot projects that people can get fired up
Just
about,
saying.
and that's the future I'm looking for, and I'm pro environment, but I'm not against I'm not like, I don't think we should vilify the oil and gas industry.
Oh my
'cause
God,
they're-
this
they're-
stuff
they're
got y'all. I'm
keeping
up here
civilization
sweating. This
going,
got me boiling right now.
And but I do think we want to move, a reasonable speed towards a sustainable energy economy. Those are my values, and I think, and so I mean that's why I'm supporting you for president.
Well, I appreciate it. We're going to give incentive to companies to come into our country, not to leave our country. We're going to be giving tremendous incentives. We want companies to build here, not to build in other locations. And we want to create jobs. And again, it's about the American dream. You don't hear about the American dream anymore, Elon. You don't hear. You're the American dream in the truest sense, but you don't hear about the American dream anymore. And you're going to hear about it. People, they need that incentive to go out and do it. And they're going to love their lives. I mean, they're going to look forward to getting up in the morning and going to a job that they love, not a job that they can't stand, or not any job at all where they have no money, where they literally have no money. And then they end up with violence and lots of other problems. No, we're going to do some great things. And I learned a lot in the first. We had a great economy and all of that. We rebuilt the military. We did so much, but I also learned the best people. I learned the good people, the smart people, the dumb people, the people that can do things. The people, you learn. When I first came in, I tell people I was in Washington, D.C. only 17 times, according to the fake news media. I was in 17 times. I never stayed over. And you don't know people. You rely on other people to give you names, and then you realize the people you relied on weren't so good. Now, we had great people, but we also had some where I wouldn't have used them had I known. Now I know everybody. And I think we're going to really turn things around fast. We have no choice. Otherwise, we're not going to have a country. And I really appreciate this. To me, it's been a lot of fun being with you. You're an amazing guy. You've done an incredible job and a great inspiration to people, a great inspiration. And I hope you keep going and just continue to do well. And we're going to have a big election coming up. And I think November 5th will be the most important day in the history of our country. I think that election will be the most important election. And I think it'll end up being maybe the most important day in the history of our country, because if we don't win, I just feel so sorry for everybody.
No, I think we're at a fork in the road of destiny of civilization, and I think we need to take the right path, and I think you're the right path. So I think that's what it comes down to.
Thank you very much, Elon. It's a great honor, and we'll do it again sometime. And it's been really fun, and I hope you got a lot of viewers. I hear you got a lot, but I hope you got a lot. I know you got a lot of them. I appreciate it. I'll see you soon.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you, Elon. Thank you very much. Bye.
Woo! Lord Jesus in a hand basket. Holy smoky dokey okey. That's darn near 3 hours. 3 hours, ladies and gentlemen. Trump can go. Man, my God, that dude can go. I think, no, y'all, you listen up. Listen here. I'm going to keep it real. I'm going to keep it real with y'all. Trump can go. And I'm not necessarily saying it as a bad thing. I'm not necessarily saying it as a good thing. I think it can be bad or good depending on the instance. Now, before I go on, let me ask you guys, can y'all hear me good? Do you guys hear me okay? Do I sound low? Do I sound good? Do I need to be turned up a little bit more? I do not know. Let me know. Because I'm going to get into a few things here. I'm not just going to end this. I ain't about to let Trump do all the talking and then some of the stuff Elon say and not say anything. Lord Jesus. Okay. Y'all say y'all hear me fine? Okay, so my microphone is not too low. Lord Jesus, Trump can go. But you know what? I got to be honest with him, y'all. Just think about here. Just go with me here. There's pros and cons to Trump going along like this. Trump never really gets a chance to really express himself and really talk freely like this. And I'm going to tell y'all something else. When I got invited to the White House and was able to talk to Trump behind closed doors, Trump is way more blunt than what y'all heard him talking to Elon. He was still kind of keeping it professional. Let's talk about a few things that we all notice here. Trump obviously has dentures. I don't care what I don't care what any of y'all say. I'm in medicine. Various hospitals, outpatient medical facilities, outpatient clinics, nursing homes, assisted living facilities. I know how a person sounds when their false teeth are out of their mouth. I'm telling you right now, Trump has dentures. Though the way he was
saying something, then we got to save our, we have to save our country, because if you're not even going to recognize the country in the second that,
That's dentures. Those are teeth gone. I'm just Trump was at home chilling with his robe on, having a cigar or something and some cognac, maybe. I don't know. No, he doesn't drink or smoke, do we? I take that back. But wait a minute. Time out. If Trump doesn't drink or smoke, why do I hold on? If Trump don't drink or smoke, why is this a gift? Trump, we got something to talk about. I didn't even think about that. You told your kids not to drink or anything like that, but then you got stuff being sent from y'all vineyard and all that. No, I'm just playing. I think Trump does drink, but I don't think he drinks like that. So anyway, what I was gonna say is pros and cons to what I feel Trump just got done doing. Him going for a long period of time like that, he got to express himself and really get out things that he probably wouldn't normally be able to do, because let's be honest, most of the time when Trump is sitting down with an interviewer or a journalist, they're jumping in, they're interrupting him, they're throwing off his train of thought. They are actually not being journalists and interviewers. They're being more like debaters. Those journalists, just like with JD Vance, Donna, they're not there to ask Trump a question and let him expound on his reasoning or his thinking. They're there to debate him. No, it's not. That's not true. No, you never said that. No, you didn't. That's what they do. Sure, I did. Sure, yes, I did. It came from China. I said China. So you're a nasty person. See, they do these things to trip them up and get them thrown off. I'm just being honest with y'all, right? So, yeah, but at the same time, I gotta tell you, guys, Elon Musk is a brilliant individual. Everybody have their strengths and weaknesses, but in this particular case, y'all, for some of y'all, before y'all get y'all panties all in a bunch, I told y'all I will criticize, I will analyze stuff the way I see it. I felt like Elon Musk really didn't get a chance to ask and talk about all the things that he wanted to, because Trump kept on jumping in and going on about certain things. Trump kept on repeating himself over a certain thing. See, me sitting down with Trump and talking, I would be like, look, respectfully, sir, I'm going to act like you were my grandfather. So I'm going to say, Grandpa, when you start to repeat yourself and tell your story, you're going to be like, hey, Grandpa, you remember you already said it about you already said that they're violent. You already said that you already said that, Grandpa, but here, what were you going to say though? That's, I would have to, me and my personality, I would have to. I'm like, now, wait, Grandpa Trump, you about to go on your rant about the whole thing about them coming in. They're some of they're worse than the criminals here. You already said, you said it 3 times actually, Grandpa. So, but what's your whole point of saying that though? You know what I'm saying? That's me though. And then Elon Musk was, I felt kind of bad for Elon in a way, because I felt like it was the kid that has like the stuttering problem, and he really can't complete his thought before somebody overtalks him, which I see that a lot. And one thing about that, when I do see that, especially, I'm just being real. I'm not calling him out. I'm not going to say your name, but one of my employees, you know who you are. I jump in all the time on them. Like, hey, wait, y'all, wait. He wasn't finished. I do it all the time. He talks he has Asperger's, and a little bit just like Elon, he talks the same exact way. And when he's saying something, people like to jump in and try to complete his sentence for him or complete his thought. And I'm like, hey, y'all, don't do that. I, as a boss, that's what I do. I'll go, hey, don't do that. Hey, let him finish his statement, because you don't know what his train of thought is to try to finish it off for him. Don't do that. So I'm just saying, me personally, I would just be like, oh man, let Trump ask what he was going to ask you. Let him get it fully out. Because then you went on about something and you went all the way this direction, and that's probably not what Elon was talking about. I'm just saying. So what happens here a lot of times is that you guys, a lot of y'all that are Trump, I'm a supporter. I told y'all. For some of you don't know that, I got stuff signed by them. That's I was given this by Trump. Got Kayleigh McEnany's signature and everything on it. But my point is this: there's nothing wrong with criticizing the person that you like or you're voting for. It helps them to be better. It helps them to be better, folks. So now, a couple of things here, though. This whole thing with the criminals and all this. See, I'm the person that would have asked Trump, what is your plan? Besides saying, we're going to have the largest deportation you've ever seen. We're going to get them out of our country. They're going to get out so fast. No. Besides getting out of our country and deporting them, what are we going to do when they do stuff is what I want to know. That's what guys, I'm telling you right now, to see this stuff go on is nothing worse for me to make my blood boil when I see that a person can be disrespected, dishonored, beat up, bullied, and no justice get brought to them. I cannot stand it. I don't even like when I see little kids getting smart with their parents and their parents don't even say nothing to them. Honey, stop. I hate you, mommy. Honey, don't say you hate mommy. I be wanting to snatch their kids and who you think you that's me. What I'm saying it for is this. What are we talking about with these criminals coming in here doing what they doing? Fool, I will put a straight, let me stop. It got the word it in it, but it starts with the word H. That's what would be, yeah, let them out. Let it have been like what we just been hearing about these migrants, what these illegals, what they've done to some of our American brothers and sisters, what they've done to our American sons and daughters. Let it happen up here in Chi-Town. Let it have been one of my nieces. Yes, Kim Fox, JB Pritzker. Yeah, be soft on crime. Let them out. Please let them out. The migrants will be there. Oh, no, please don't. I want to go back to jail. Don't let me back out. I don't want to go back down. Please, please. I want to stay in jail. Please let me. They will be up here with my family. Let that happen to one. Let that happen to one of my nieces or nephews. Huh? Let it happen. I guarantee you. You guys hear, oh, so the victim that was let out, hocus pocus, the locus locos, he's missing. Police are saying that he came, he was put in this homeless shelter, and the homeless shelter, well, what happened here? Well, he left and we haven't seen him in 5 days. We don't know where he is. Maybe he went to California. Yeah, he went to California, all right. Yeah, he went to California. He went there via the river. He's somewhere floating. No, matter of fact, he's not floating. He ain't floating at all. He got cinder blocks or something. I'm telling you right now. I'm telling you right now what would happen up here in Chi-Town if that was one. I'm just keeping it real. Trump got it wrong when he said that they criminals are worse than ours. You don't know, man. You don't know a lot of folks in my family. That's why those Venezuelans and folks ain't messing with no folk. They ain't messing with nobody in the hood. They live. I got family up here right now that these people have moved. These people, Brandon Johnson, Sucky Mayor, he has moved some of those people into some of the areas that my family them live in the projects and things like that. Ask me if I got any complaints about my family telling me that they jumped one of the folks from the hood. If they try to sexually assault one of the folks from the hood, they know better. They know. Dude, the police won't even get called. And if something went down and they happen to go to jail, oh yeah, let them out. Yeah, yes. But all I'm saying that for is this. Why are we so soft on crime? It's amazing that these people have beat up police officers, shot at police officers, sexually assaulted our sons and daughters in America, but then yet January 6th was so terrible. Who they sexually assault? Huh? Who they hold down against their will and sexually assaulted them? Huh? What police officers did they shoot? Now, y'all can say, oh, they hit them with sticks. Don't get me wrong. If they did that and it's all on camera and we see that it was not provoked and they were just being idiots, oh, yeah, sure enough. Prosecute them. Prosecute them. But look at them. They didn't get let out of jail and their crimes was way less violent than these illegals, what they're doing. Way less violent. But they sitting in jail right now. They didn't even get due process. Our own American brothers and sisters. Well, January 6th was such an insurrection. Yeah, right. That's the weakest insurrection I've ever seen in my life. Going in there with flag sticks and poles with flags on it, dressed up like shamans and everything like that, being led by the police. Looked like they were going on a goddamn museum tour led by a tour guide. That's what you call an insurrection. Nobody came in there with guns or spears. I mean, blowguns. Nothing. Nothing was tore up. But the windows outside by some of the, let's just keep it real, by some idiots. They were tore down by some idiots. But I'm saying, I want to know, what are you going to do? Let me give y'all an example. Let me be somebody that's like a mayor over a city or a senator, congressman, or something like that. I will be pushing laws that will be harsh. You sexually assault one of our sons and daughters, I don't care who you are. At minimum 5 years in prison, no parole, Minimum 5 years in prison. I don't care if you held her down and all you did was kiss her and there is no penetration, there's no sodomy. Let's keep it real. No penetration, no sodomy, anything like that whatsoever. If you held her or him down and all you did was kiss them and all this stuff like they broke away, you're doing 5 years in prison. No parole. You're doing all, I don't care if you on good behavior, whatever. You're doing 5 years. They're not scared of nothing. So you need to ask yourself, who is it in these municipalities, in your areas, in your zones that you voted for that are soft on crime like this? We got one of the sucking. By the way, I'm in 4 different states. So, but okay, let's just say my state, Illinois. I love crime in Florida, how they handle crime. I don't love the crime, but I love how they handle crime. In Illinois, J.B. Prisker, he just about a sandwich or two away from having a heart attack. But they soft on crime. Soft on crime big time. And I'm telling you right now, folks, let it be me that would be in a position like this, where these people are doing these things. The crime is going to be harsh. It's going to be harsh. Forget, oh, you committed crime, we're kicking you out. Oh, no. Something's going to happen to you. Now, here's my thing, too. Say, for example, something happened to one of our American brothers and sisters by these illegals. How come they don't have a Crime Stoppers for them? I'm putting, right now, $5,000 for you guys to bring is Vocus Locus Caroso Tuto. Bring them in hurt but alive. Bring them in severely injured but alive. Y'all follow me? Yeah, no. Don't just grab him and tie him up. I want him beat. Please let me know y'all take a sledgehammer to both his shins. If you bring him in unharmed, you getting $2,500. You bring him in and both of his shins are shattered or broken, something got to be broken him. I'm giving y'all $5,000. That's what we're doing. Man, America's so harsh. You're god dang on right. You're not just going to come here and do what you want to. But you need to ask yourself, why do they feel unable to come into our country and do that? They're coming to our country, beating up our police officers, shooting our police officers, sexually assaulting our sons and daughters, and they just get a slap on the wrist and let back out of jail by our American people. We are compromised. The ones who are doing this are compromised by a higher entity. They are compromised by evil, fallen angels, demons. You can call them, y'all can call them aliens. You can call them what you want to, but this is definitely not nothing that is just of men. This is by a powerful force that cannot stand you as human beings, and that's why this is being allowed to happen. And not only that, I'll raise you another one for the ones who don't have to believe. You don't have to believe what I'm saying right now. That's completely fine. But when you sit there and you want to take and say, we don't want God in this nation, we want to do our own thing, be away from God. We don't want God hands on us anymore. We don't want to have nothing to do with God. We want to do our own thing. Look what we have. Because God is about structure. God is about order. God is about righteousness. And those things get taken away. Look what we have here. A bunch of lies. A bunch of fake. A bunch of foolishness. We are literally having conversations about what the freaking heck a woman is. Can you believe that? That's where we are. We having conversations that you look, I'm telling you like it is. Call it what you want to. We're having conversations about some of y'all that got such crazy mental illness that you think that there are more than one gender. Oh, I'm a cis, piss. You are retarded, is what you are. You have mental illness, is what you have. See what I'm saying? This is what happens when you want to take away structure, when you want to take away righteousness, when you want to take away truth. That's not the truth. There is no infinity genders. There's just two. There's a man, there's a woman. That's it. And when they come together and the man climaxes and sperm comes out, most likely the woman will get pregnant and have a baby, producing after their own kind. That's what happens. There is no, I'm a this. You can say pronouns all you want to. Anytime you come to me telling me that you got pronouns, you're just telling me that you're full of spirits, like the Bible says. The Bible clearly talks about people or a person that had pronouns too. His pronouns was legion. He said, I'm legion, for we are many. You have pronouns just like the dude in the Bible did, legion. So yeah, thanks for telling me who you are and what y'all are. But at the same time, is this what America asked for? We don't want any laws. All this stuff that y'all see going on right now is so rooted in satanic stuff. Y'all have no idea. Well, some of y'all might. Aleister Crowley, do what thou wilt. That is the law. And look what we got going on today. Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, a lot of these presidents, Obama and all them, they studied Aleister Crowley. They do things with a lot of people that are doing a lot of satanic stuff. Look at all the celebrities in Hollywood who they get with. They get with that crazy witch woman drinking male sperm milk, they call it, mixed with a little bit of blood. Look what Lady Gaga did. Y'all, just look what these people are doing. Bohemian Grove. You think they're just out there just doing it as a fun little ritual? Oh, it's just fun. It's for Halloween. These people are literally working with spiritual entities. That's how they get their power. And God is about freedom. Freedom. While the opposite is about enslavement. Everything that y'all see getting pushed through policy, if all these things has been pushed through policy, is oppressing you and I, if it's making us depressed, making us confused, making us angry, dividing us, that's not of God. God wants us to be all in one mind, one accord, united. But if there's anything that's been pushed through policy, I don't care how much it smiles at you. I don't care how much I'm going to take care of you. We got a country. No, I'm Kamala Harris, and I got my diagrams in those 3 circles because all my life is going to be unburdened by what has been. I can't. All that smiling, all that be nice to everybody kumbaya. Don't say nothing that's going to hurt anybody's feelings. That stuff right there is all a bunch of foolishness. It's a bunch of foolishness, and that's exactly why we are where we are today, where we literally have to sit there and discuss what the heck a man is and what a woman is. And men are able to go into women's bathrooms where little girls are. And you act like there's nothing wrong with that. Well, just because his brain is in the wrong body. That's so stupid. So then you got what? Okay, what about predators, huh? What about predators who wants to do things to little kids? Their brain is still stuck in the child mode, and that's why they want to do sexual activity with a kid. What would you say to that, huh? What would you say to a grown man that he only wants to try to have sex with 10-year-olds? Let's keep it real, huh? What would you say to a grown man that only wants to have sex with 10-year-old and he tell you, my brain ever since I was 10 years old, it never got to fully develop, so I still got this towards 10 years old, and in my brain, I feel that I'm 10 years old. I don't like the fact that my body developed into a grown man. I feel that my body should have stayed in the 10-year-old body. What would you say to that? Sir, something's wrong with you. But y'all got no smoke for the folks that got all these millions of pronouns. Y'all got no smoke for these people saying I'm a man trapped in a woman's body or I'm a woman trapped in a man body. Y'all got nothing for that, though, because you've been trained to accept it. Now, let me make this clear. I have nothing against anybody, and let me make that as a disclaimer. I have nothing against anybody in here right now that you are homosexual, whatever like that. But one thing I'm not going to do, I'm not going to entertain a lie. I'm not going to entertain a delusion. Just keep it real, like a lot of my own family members, a lot of my friends do. If you are a man and you are homosexual and you say, I just like men, boom. Thank you. If you are a woman and you say, I'm a woman and I just like women, I like women, I want to have sex with women, you are a woman, boom. But don't sit there and let this world trick you, deceive you, say, hey, I know what's wrong with you. See, your brain was put in the wrong body. And they want to feed you this dumb crap. No, it ain't. You just a woman that like another woman. You a man that like another man. It's that simple. Yeah, it's that simple. Because you're not giving that same type of sympathy to the pedophiles. Oh, y'all ready to beat them up and everything because he want to be with a child. Huh? And not only that, I'll raise you nothing. How come y'all not as hard on women when women do stuff to little kids? Oh, yeah, it's all over, y'all. Go Google it right now. Women are doing things to teenage boys, pre-teenage boys, grown women. And everybody like, I'm just saying, because little boy, you a little dude, and you know what I'm saying? That's disgusting. That's sick. Anyway, the other thing I want to talk about before I close this thing out, ladies and gentlemen, because y'all been here with me and I really appreciate it, is when Elon Musk was talking about the whole notion of the CO2, which I literally, I love nature. I literally just watched something on, I don't know if it's called Earth or Big Blue Planet, whatever it's called. and they were just talking about all these. They talked about like the biggest forest up somewhere by Alaska or something like that. This big, huge forest where they said that based off how the jet stream moves up and down, everything like that, that they said that this forest compensates for taking up at least 50% of CO2. Like it sucks in 50% of the CO2 in all the earth just up there in this big crazy forest in Alaska. So what I'm saying that for is this. I don't know if Elon Musk knows this, so don't y'all, this one I don't want y'all to think. Don't think just because somebody is rich and famous and they got a certain type of genius in their field that they know all things. So somebody may not explain this to him, but there's something called nature. And I don't care what any of y'all say. You don't have to agree with me. Nature takes care of itself. What are you saying, Todd? Come on, y'all. Remember, the ozone layer got a hole in it. The ozone layer got a hole in it, and we're going to be burning up. I was in the 6th grade. They told me 10 years from now, acid rain going to be burning people and burning cars and eating through gargoyles, statues, and when I was in college, they said that the ice shelves are going to melt and Florida is going to be underwater. They had me scared to move to Florida. I moved to Florida anyway, but I'm up here in Panama City Beach. And they was like, oh, where Fort Lauderdale is, it's going to be underwater in 5. Look where it's at right now. Global warming is going to cause massive. Now we got climate change. What I'm having a hard time here is this. When there was real science back when I was going through school and they told you there is nothing here on earth that came out from anywhere. Everything that's here has always been here and it's not going to be able to go nowhere else. It takes care of itself. So when you talk about, oh, cars emitting CO2, well then shouldn't the levels be going down since the fact that there's a lot more electric cars around the world right now? So shouldn't that already reduce it? You know what I'm saying? And not only that, if that's the case, make most cars hybrid, where it has the battery and the gasoline. But if the battery happens to go, I mean, you're just going to use more gasoline. And not only that, with Elon Musk Teslas, you should see how much they are on the environment. You can say that, oh, they don't emit as much CO2, but guess what? Look how much look, y'all, those are heavier vehicles, which means you go through brakes like crazy. The stuff that's been emitted from the brakes, look what that's going out in the atmosphere. And then look how much it costs to replace a battery. You might as well buy a brand new car. So yeah, you can say all these things about it's environmentally safe and blah, 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 but it's not dang on environmentally good on your pockets. We've been doing these things for years and the earth continues to be the earth. Now, he's talking when Elon Musk said, oh, it's going to be so much CO2, whatever like that, it's going to cause headaches. I would like to ask Elon Musk, where are you talking about? Because if y'all want to keep it real, if you want to keep it 100, if you want to keep it completely 100, y'all not caring about all these dyes and all this tractamacalacasin and stuff that you putting in some cereal and all the diaphosinga-phosphate, acapitase, and geekog base that you putting in juice. You're not caring about spraying all the kesamycosi pesticides and stuff on the apples and stuff we eat. You're not caring about putting all these dioxamacalacalocasocapoca in the soil. Huh? But we care about if the CO2 is in the air. But hey, eat all the crazy stuff that got poison all in it. You know, eat all when look, I'm telling y'all, I look, I'm just being real. I pay the extra. I'm going to farmers market. I got friends that I have that got their own chickens and stuff like that. My point of saying that is this. I try to be as healthy as I possibly can be. But when I get orange juice, I have a juicer myself. When I go to that apple tree and I take that apple off the tree that's growing in my friend's yard, I slice that bad boy up, make sure no worms is in it. I drop it in my juicer. It gives me juice. I put that in the refrigerator. I'm going to get rid of that apple juice, whatever like that, within that week. My apple juice says apple juice. That's it. When you go to the store, when you go and buy apple juice, what does it say on there? I don't know, apple juice, such and such for coloring, ascorbic acid, something. See what I'm saying? So we more concerned about something that is not an immediate jeopardization on our lives. But we're not concerned about the thing that's an immediate jeopardization on our life when it comes to food and what they're putting in the food. Huh? We're not concerned about any of that, right? So that's what I'm saying. I look at these things from a whole different perspective. Like, we worried about what's gonna happen. We really with CO2, but it's still gonna be airplanes flying in the air. It's still, yo, I'm sorry. I don't buy any of it because everything that y'all see right now, you do. I see it's one of these things I tell people to do. I literally go and sit. I put my phone off to the side. Matter of fact, I leave it, put it in a whole different room. And in my man cave area, I literally go sit and just think. It's amazing when you do it. The reason why I say that is this. Y'all ever think about the fact that everything you see right now came from the ground? Everything. This camera that I'm looking at right now came from the ground. This microphone that I'm speaking in right now came from the ground. This little felt little thingy right here, this microphone covering, came from the ground. This cell phone right here came from the ground. The components within that cell phone came from the ground. This computer screen right here came from the ground. The components inside that camera that I'm talking to you guys on came from the ground. The cords, the wires that run into all of this came from the ground. Do you know what happens when you put this stuff back in the ground? It breaks back down into this anatomical particles that made it up. Did y'all know that? So what am I saying that for? I think you don't have to believe in God. I'm not preaching at y'all. I think God knew what he was doing when he made us and he created us and made us to be just like him, to become creators ourselves. This stuff came from the ground. If you leave it in the ground, it's going to break down and go back into being what it was before it became all these different, whatever they mixed the this and that together, make it form plastic, it's going to break back down. That's why we have landfills. The stuff breaks back down and become anatomical particles. I don't know if they touch all that in school, right? So what I'm saying that for is this. If they told us in school, the real legit science, that everything that's in Earth right now has always been here and nothing is going away. They even tell you, but did y'all even learn that about energy? When I was going through med school, when they taught us about energy, they say when energy leaves, it doesn't go out of space and go nowhere. It goes and gets recycled. It gets recycled. So what am I saying that for? When you talk about carbon and oil and what it can do to the earth, you mean this stuff that's always been here is all of a sudden it's a danger now? It will recycle itself. Now I know we got things in place right now. I'm not talking about just go out and spill oil all in the ocean to kill the animals. But my point is, even if left alone, it will clean itself. You do know that that oil that they drill from the ocean, it had to get there somehow, some way. Have you ever even seen the stuff? Even I'm telling you, it's amazing. If it stays on the top, the wave's going to push it back into the ground, the beach. If left, I'm just telling you, I'm giving you a scenario. If left alone, it would eventually push all that stuff to the beach where it's going to end up in the sand. It's going to end up filtrating down through the sand as it goes deeper down and down to all the particles that whatever the smallest anatomical particles are, the bigger anatomical particles are going to remain at the top while the smaller anatomical particles are going to get filtrated through until it becomes back to its anatomical composition. But we clean it up, which is awesome. But all I'm saying is this. I think like that. So you telling me that this earth that's been here all this time, that was designed and made for us to live here, we create these cars and vehicles that emit CO2. We have plants that feed off the CO2 that goes through a process called glycolysis. Yeah, y'all didn't think I know. I told you, I remember this stuff from school. It goes through a process called glycolysis, where the whole purpose of that is to get rid of an electron. So you telling me these same plants that suck up CO2 and use that to make sugar to go through the photons and different things like that to go through the process, or the Krebs cycle or glycolysis, and they let off oxygen and we breathe the oxygen back in. Can you imagine if they told you we got too many plants? Too many plants now. All these plants are emitting too much oxygen. What would y'all do? That's awesome. So all I'm saying is that it will take care of itself. Nature will take care of itself. And we're not going to go too deep about the whole purpose of where and the whole process of how they get the batteries to get to those Tesla cars. But we ain't going to go there right now. I held y'all too long. Thank y'all for hanging out with me and taking y'all time to view my content. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button if you would, please, to support the channel. To those of you, especially Sue Prov that gave out the super chat, I really appreciate it, sis. Those of you in here right now, make sure you hit the like button before y'all get out of here. And just like always, and I really do mean this, when I say it, I am Ty Smith, Model Renaissance Man, and I hope and pray that every last one of you have food, shelter, and clothing. And most of all, I pray every last one of you guys are in great health, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. God bless you all through Jesus.